their gold wine is like some top of the line thing. Dude, $110 for one going over there. We got like 4 mice going around going, oh man, I hope Jill never sees the bill. We ready to go?
Yep.
This is it.
There we go.
All right, man. All right, it's about time.
Right.
It's great. I love this, man. So how you been? First of all, I've been like a voyeur. I've been watching you. Man, you've been going on vacations, been up to Mammoth. You went up to the, the Mocog thing up in the, up by the beach area. Man, you've been having a good time.
It's kind of like December. We weren't home.
Yeah.
We were everywhere.
Yeah.
We got an RV.
Did you really?
Yeah. We all of our friends have had RVs for their whole lives.
Right.
So they've always been asking us, and after this COVID thing, we felt kind of left out because everybody's going places. We're sitting at home.
Yeah.
So Michelle and I finally said, "Hey, let's do it."
That's awesome, man. Well, especially because, the kids are so young that now's your time. Now's the time that you spend with them. Now's the time you're going to make memories. That's, it's like with my little ones when they were little, and now, they're in their 40s. So it's amazing what happens when you have kids at 10. But they still talk to this day about all the trips to the river, the water skiing, just everything, the mountain biking, all the things that we used to do when they were really little. They to this day still talk about, man, you were making memories. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
awesome. I love it.
Something that all you guys have told me that I've looked up to as mentors has been like, you need to spend the time. You only get it one time. You need to spend it.
Yeah.
You'll always have work. You'll always be able to go back to it.
Yeah.
And I take that pretty seriously now.
Yeah.
And I take, they're only going to be 5 once, 6 once, 7 once.
Yeah.
And there's like a weird growing up factor that none of us figure out until you're in it.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
My 7-year-old is at the point where like she's trying to be a teenager.
Get out of here. 7?
7.
7? Oh, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
She is just like growing up, like doing her own thing. She wants nothing to do with me right now. My boy is 5. Rocky's 5.
Yeah.
And he just wants everything to do with me. He wants to chase bugs. He wants.
You're gonna find this. This is again. This is coming from the OG, but you're gonna find they trade places. There's going to be a while going on that Rocky's going to be your dude. He's going to be stuck to your side, and then pretty soon he's going to branch off, and he's going to be kind of manning up, and he's going to be doing things on his own. And your daughter is going to make this little change and come back and be daddy's little girl. Tell Michelle there's going to be a time when she's going to be on the outs with the daughter, but it's daddy's girl. And something happens when that switch comes around. They never change again. They're always daddy's girl. They're always there. It doesn't seem like it sometimes, and from that point to affinity, that, they're always going to look at you and come to you. They may not come to you for a lot of the girl stuff, but you're the support. You're the strength. You're the security, and it just never changes. Girl-dad relationships are just amazing. Just amazing.
Figuring it out. Got 2 of them.
Yeah, you do.
Hopefully make some more.
So how's the school going?
Oh, the school is awesome.
Yeah. Let's talk about that first. Before we get into how good the school is that you guys put together, let's talk about homeschooling. That's to a lot of people that seems like that's as more commonplace as it's becoming, it's still on the outer fringes to a lot of people. What made you guys decide that was the route that you wanted to go?
First of all, homeschooling is scary. It's the scariest thing ever because you have to do it and you have to be committed to it, and your child's success is your ability to keep showing up. Right. That's right. What it is.
Yeah.
Well, at the beginning of this whole pandemic thing, Michelle and I actually had the kids enrolled in a private school. And we just didn't want their education to be started and stopped based on something that's going on, an event in the world. So we got really, really lucky. Our nanny at the time had been she went to school for child development, toddler development.
No way.
So it was like right in the alley of like perfect timing. And my life is so great like that. And she's like, I can do it. And we looked up all the requirements. And we decided that it was the best fit for us because we wanted to spend a lot of time with our kids. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where that's how the decision came about.
And I think you hit on something. The most important part of, number one, the most important part of raising children mm-hmm. is time spent. Mm-hmm. But it becomes even more so when you are doing a homeschool, because now not only is their emotional well-being, their sense of security, all the things that we as parents do for our children, at stake, but also now their whole future, their education, their how they view life, things, because now it's all coming from a smaller source, if mm-hmm. you will. Do you guys think about things like that way, or do you just jump in and just make shit happen? Mm-hmm.
It's a whole learning process, but mm-hmm. like you said, the time, like you're directly responsible for raising your child and then becoming a good human being. And you have to get over your hurdles in life mm-hmm. to help them become a human being. What are the things that are really hard, that were hard for us, right. Conscious parenting is something we got into right away with the homeschooling. Mm-hmm. That's learning to communicate with your kid and giving them options. Not just, your first reaction when your kid says something is no, and everything, no matter what. Right. Like, don't touch that. No. And conscious parenting says, don't say that. Say, say your kid walks up to you and says, "Hey, can I have candy?" Well, right now we can't have candy, but you can either have some, a popsicle or some milk. You give a couple options. I'm giving horrible options because nothing's coming to my head right now. But it's called conscious parenting. So we took that route with the homeschool. Mm-hmm. How can we make the best environment to communicate with our kids so there's always feedback and communication? Right. They're not scared of us. You know how, so when I was raised, I always asked questions based on not being yelled at. So I wouldn't ask a question if I thought I was going to get yelled at. So I asked no questions because
kept it to yourself.
And I'm at the point, or Michelle and I have decided that we want our kids to ask us all the questions because we want the opportunity to explain everything. And because it's us, mm-hmm. Why not tell them, that? And that's kind of that is the biggest takeaway from homeschool. Besides having just one source of information, good, kind, human information, mm-hmm. and not having, because you go to a public school, you go to a private school, you go with 30 kids in any location, there's stuff going on. Like, people have life events that are going on, and people are having bad days, and it's, you can't control what your kid sees as real. And in a homeschool environment, you can.
Right.
And you can discuss what's real with them.
And that opens up, that could actually, we could probably segue into a whole conversation on the, educational system. Mm-hmm. Now, academic really is, working, and the viewpoints that are being handed down through the school systems to children, and whether they're getting the right information or the wrong information on social happenings, I don't know, but I do know it's out of the parents' hands. Mm-hmm. Because I will see my kids, my girls, coming home from school with viewpoints and opinions not based on any real research, where what I try to explain to them is, if you're going to have an opinion, look at both sides of the story, and then through information that you're gathering, then develop an opinion. But to have an opinion because you heard somebody at school say whatever it is that they're saying, and then you come home and say, now this is your opinion. It's not an opinion. All you're doing is regurgitating what somebody else has said. And you don't know where that opinion came from. So our school system, the world of academia, whether it's in elementary, high school, college, is skewed. Mm-hmm. And the idea of being at home and homeschooling, they're going to get a cleaner version. They may not get as much input, like you said, because in the world, real world, there's a lot of activity, a lot of people going through ups and downs and changes and, varying views and ideas and thoughts. So they may not get all of those, but it's going to be a much cleaner view. So do you try to give both sides of stories when you're saying helping them develop opinions, or do you find that you do what you have learned and give based on what you think?
The cool thing about our homeschool system is it's run by our teacher, and that is all we're trying to do is give all the non-toxic information and letting them make a decision or help them like understand what they want by questioning. Just question them, and all the viewpoints are necessary, all the history is necessary.
Right.
All the good, bad, and the ugly is necessary at the different levels, right? At the different kid levels.
Yeah.
But we choose to teach about the universe and the environment and all the different things in that, not our impression or how we feel about things. We teach about the moon and the stars and the wind and the rain and the different kinds of people and the different kinds of languages and the different kinds of communications, and that all of it should work together as one.
Right.
We really, really try to pound that in. It's we're all here in this universe to work together, and let me give you as much non-toxic information as possible so you can do your best through it. Right. Like another huge thing is we want to teach our kids how to have the best life possible. And understanding life is key to that. Some people don't wake up for a long time. I don't feel like I woke up till like 2 years ago and just started understanding this life is not about just working and being under stressful situations.
Right.
So now I'm addicted to showing my kids how to enjoy every moment along the journey.
Right.
Because it does, the end result is, what does that matter?
Right.
It's great and all, but
yeah. Well, and I think that's, one of the key purposes of life that I have learned to value and learned to appreciate, and that is just to find your little space of happiness. Find your little space of joy. Because without that, without feeling those emotions and feelings of pure happiness and joy, you can't be content. You're just not going to be content. You're going to be just wound too tight. And something as simple as how that sounds is extremely difficult sometimes to locate, because so many outside influences contradict happiness and joy, and especially in our world, today. I mean, what we're looking at, there's a definite division that we all see, and yet it's so difficult at times to cross the bridges, build the bridges, and yet it's just all human beings, so to be able to take your children and express those things and show them that and show them the happiness and show them what contentment and love and just even from the family perspective, but also too being able to teach them through schooling and education. It's pretty amazing.
It's really amazing to get their honest feedback too.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to to teach them that it's okay to think freely. It's okay to believe in yourself. It's okay. You know how like in school, you're like afraid of like raising your hand?
Oh, absolutely.
All of our homeschool kids race to be first.
Really?
Because there's no judgment. Your answer is your answer. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's your answer, you know? And that's something beautiful we've put into our homeschool situation is our kids are, we have 6 of them right now. And it's just a judgment-free zone. And that's, you know, everybody can learn at their own pace. Everybody can do, like school is just like, kind of, you have to go there. You have to learn your ABCs.
Right.
But what are you teaching them beyond that? And that's what homeschool gives you. It gives you the ability to put in, I would call it like they say the Montessori side, whatever teaches them, whatever they like to learn with. Right.
Right.
So Rocky, we do everything with trucks, everything. Right.
Yeah.
But then we get to teach them the human stuff with trucks. It teaches us how to teach that too. And it also gives you the opportunity to be with them around the clock and enjoy them. And I would say that because when I was, say, the first 4 to 5 years of my kid's life, I spent like 2 or 3 hours a day with them going home. And they, you know, to be honest with you, they kind of annoyed me because I didn't know how to interact with them. And now homeschool is like, I get them all the time. They want to go with me to work. They want to go with me to the grocery store. They want to, that's amazing. That is something that you cannot ever, like, I wouldn't have got that if we didn't have homeschool.
Let's go back to that because that's really an interesting thought. Because the majority of dads are just what you explained. You know, we've all been there. There's millions of men that are still doing it. We get up and we go to work. We put in our 10-hour days or whatever it is that we do. And we come home, we're dog tired. We think that at that point, we have done our part for our family. I got up, I put my work boots on, I went to work, I'm paying the bills. That's my job. And we miss the biggest part of being a dad. And that's that relationship with the kids. That's showing them that there's more to life than just getting up and being a good, you know, provider. You know, you've got to touch them. You've got to feel them. You've got to, and I think that there's a lot of dads that miss out on that. And then they, like you said, they go home and they actually are agitated because they're being expected to do something when they're tired. And yet, if they would just let down that guard, whatever it is that they're being asked to do with their children is going to make that sense of frustration or agitation disappear. They just got to give it a chance. They just got to do it.
It's so hard. Hard to do that. We all get like, we get good at work and then we leave home. We leave home and we don't think that we need to provide for them in any other way. We think that money's the only way. Yeah. We are so lucky to get to go to work and get to go mess up and get paid for it. And when it really like hit home with me, it was like, you need to start serving your family. You need to start being good at the family thing. Like, I need to be the best oiler there is, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Talking the crane talk, like I need to be the best partner, the best teammate, you know, and that has changed my life in a big way. But it started with being scared of my family. I don't think we're taught that we need to put the time in now. We're taught you need to work and you just provide, and then, you know, they'll end up being okay. Just keep throwing money at them. Yeah. And it's the opposite. Yeah. They need love. And that's all they need.
Well, when you look at your children and you see your children looking at you, they don't look at you as a provider. They don't look at you as somebody with a wallet. They look at you as somebody that they want to sit on your lap. They want to watch SpongeBob. They want to have some popcorn. They want to get in the truck and go to Home Depot and ride around on the little cart while you're pushing it and buying lumber. That's what they want to do. You know, they want to get in the motorhome. They don't care. They just want to be with dad. And so many of us as dads don't recognize that. And we refuse to recognize it because we get so wrapped up into ourselves, that sense of pity of, I have to go to work. Instead of turning it around and be joyous and say, I'm the fucking luckiest guy in the world because I got a job and it's paying me and I get to go to work. They look at it as, what a pain in the ass. You know, then what are they going to do? You're going to work all day long with a chip on your shoulder. You're going to work all day long thinking that this is all fucked up and why me? Why couldn't I hit the lottery? Whatever it is that they're thinking. Well, what do you think their attitude is going to be when they get off work and they go home? It's going to be just as fucked up. Mm-hmm. And then the kid's going to want to go to Lowe's or whatever. No, I'm too tired. I don't have time. I mean, how many times? I don't know about you, but when you go to your son's and daughters' functions, whether it's sports or dance or whatever that it is, and you look around and it's 80% moms. Where's dad? Where's dad? Missing out. You know, so
people wondering why kids these days are acting differently. You know, and mm-hmm. I think a big reason for that is the dad is taking the easy out and the moms are raising the kids.
Yeah.
And they're doing their best job, but they're not dad.
No.
You know, and the dad is we're half of their personality. We're 100% of their dad side, you know?
Well, yeah. And it's even more so than that. What it is it's the dad that in this in today's world is, you know, if this was a big podcast, I'd get a gazillion, you know, complaints about it, but it seems we're not, nobody's going to say shit. But, but the problem is that dads are an important aspect of children raising up because they are dad, because they are the male, because we do think different, because we do have different viewpoints. We do have different ways of going about stuff. And it may not always be right. And I'm not saying that, you know, that the male philosophy is the best. Sometimes it's the worst, but it's still the other side. Like we were talking about earlier, and about school and about learning and developing opinions based on hearing both sides of the story. Well, it's the same thing in raising children. The kids are going to be the best that they can be because they saw a mom, loving, kind, emotional, supportive, just, you know, everything that moms are. And then they saw dad, and he's a little bit tougher, and he's, you know, hit his finger with the hammer and, you know, let out a couple words, and that's dad. And they're seeing both sides of these things. Somewhere in the middle, you're developing well-rounded children. And when dads disappear, and this is a sore spot for me, when you hear so many dads that are just gone, just left, just abandoned. Okay, I understand marriages don't always work out. You don't abandon children. You don't leave. They still need you. And I've seen so many times when children grow up without a dad in the house, and they have questions. They're missing. There's something missing that they didn't get. And mom may have been a great single mom and did everything that she possibly could to make it work. There's still something missing. And so dads that are out there that left, I just have zero tolerance for. You know, that's, you know, got off on some tangent here.
Oh, I like that. And, you know, actually, I think the dads that are gone and they have left, whoever, if anybody's out there listening, they do have the opportunity to always go back to
Absolutely.
Their kids and tell them they love them and they messed up.
Yeah.
You know, I wish dads knew that. I wish dads knew how to go to their kids, even at me going at 4 and 2
mm-hmm.
and trying to bring them little tchotchkes to build their love. And all they want to do is hold my hand.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But we don't know that, you know, I think that all dads need to know that you can mess up and go back. It's not like work.
Yeah. I saw a little clip on Instagram just today, as a matter of fact. And it was one of those where, you know, the dad surprises, you know, the kid and, you know, shows up, but it wasn't coming home from Afghanistan. And it wasn't, you know, it was a guy that actually was in a penitentiary for 11 years and came home, sat down behind the daughter. The daughter didn't know that he was there. 11 years now, 11 fucking years. And the daughter turns around and fell apart, arms around him, hugging on him. It was like brought tears to my eyes when I saw this. And here's a guy that probably wasn't the best of society at one point in time. Obviously, if he went to prison for 11 years, but gets out to see his daughter. And that reaction. So any dad that's gone and left, you can always come back. You can always return. You can always say, I screwed up. And that's another thing too. Be humble. I screwed up. Don't want to be alone. Don't want to be without you. You know, and, you know, that's to me the main thing in a man's life. Once you get married, once you have children, your main thing in life is to be a dad. You know, it's a gift. I don't care. Anybody says, yeah, it's hard. And it's sometimes you don't know what to do. You don't know, you know, what to say. You know, it's difficult and it's frustrating. I mean, there are so many times that, you know, you just want to just bang your head against the wall in raising them. But then you see them do something really cool and you're so proud. And this is what I try to tell a lot of dads. It's really cool when you're raising them and they're 13 and they're 14 or they're 7 or whatever, and they go do something and they make a touchdown or they hit the ball or they bring home straight A's on the report. All those things are amazing, great things while you're raising them. The reward, years down the road. You know, it's when you see them as solid citizens, when you see them and they're married, and you see them raising their children, and you see them with great work ethic, that's when you go, job well done. You know, that's when you say, you know, you did it. And it's too, you know, it's like I have great kids, and I always say it's great mothering. You know, it is, you know. I couldn't do it by myself. There's no freaking way. You know, it takes a great mom. It takes a great woman to raise great kids. And it takes a really solid dad along the way too. So, you know, I mean, it's hats off to you, Wes. I mean, you know, doing what you're doing, and I've known you a long time, and I've seen you grow, and I've seen where you were, where you're at today. And it's like, it's amazing to watch. And I'm you know, as an OG, as I like to say now, you know, I'm very proud, very, very proud. I mean, it's just like, you know, just watching you go through life now with a whole new mindset. You know, it's just, and the mindset is what, I mean, dude, how did, what all the talks that we have had, I have never asked you, what was it? It was like a light switch with you. It had to have been something, because it was a fucking light switch, because you were one way one day and literally different the next day. And I don't want to say that you went from this to where you're at today. You went from this to opening your eyes and saying, I got to change. And then from that point, you've worked diligently at achieving the level of thought and understanding that you're at today. What was it?
So many iterations of change. I was going to kill myself. Got to the point where I owed so many people money. I had to lie to everybody. I thought the world was chasing me. Swear it's crazy you asked that question, because I was talking to Michelle about it the other day. Mm-hmm. And I went to this card reader, and I picked these cards, and they said, like, I knew it was a terrible deck. I was at a terrible place in my life.
Right.
And she explained it so beautifully. She took the positive even out of the negative stuff. And basically what I got from meditating after that session, because I meditate a lot, right? And at that time I had just started, but what I got from that is as bad as it can be today. It's your choice to make it that good. Right? Mm-hmm. Instead of walking around moping, thinking that you need to kill yourself, like take your life away. You're a piece of crap. Like, why can't you think the opposite way? Why can't you just smile? And instead of killing myself, because I definitely didn't want to do that. It's very scary. I was just in a very scared place where I had just ran out of chips, and fear is crazy. But, honestly, I sat down and I cried for about an hour, and I just I don't know. Oh, you know what I did? After that, I read a book called The Untethered Soul, and that started the whole change, because I started to realize there were other people like me.
Yeah.
And there's this book references these thorns in your life, and you can either build a life around a thorn or you can get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And I started getting rid of my thorns, and my mindset is totally changed to my God. And I say that for the question later because I want to talk about that. But my God says the world has no good or bad. He's not judgmental. Where am I going with that? What was the question again? I got off on God, then I was going to say something about...
No, but you were reading The Untethered Souls, and you were...
Reading The Untethered Soul, the Thorn. Mm-hmm. And then I went to meditating a lot, and I changed my perspective on everything to... I can control what I can control, and the rest of the stuff I just got to get through. This life is really worth getting through, and I just got to grin and bear it and show up. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you saw for the first maybe 8 months, 9 months, it was a fake smile,
right?
Just a grin. And I told myself, if you can do that, you can continue. Like there's little stepping stones in iterations to happiness. Yeah. There's so many stepping stones when you're in the vortex of low vibration. Right. Right. So, and I want the best for me. I want the best life for me and my family. So it became very apparent that I needed to work at that. Yeah. Like every day. Yeah. Every single day. Yeah. And I couldn't believe that I had gotten to the point in my life where I was not happy with my life, where I would end my life when I have such a good life. Yeah. And I have a lot of good stuff, man. I mean, to the outside world, I got everything, and I need to start acting like that. So not acting like I have everything, but start appreciating everything, start being grateful for everything. Yeah. Like
living a life of appreciation for good fortune. Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And appreciating everything along the way. That was
going back to what you were saying too, because you were really hitting on something that was resonating with me, because I remember when you were going through that period of time, the forced smile. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I feel very honored to have been close enough to you to witness everything, even from a distance, even if you and I didn't talk for a couple weeks or so at a time, which was not uncommon. I was still very keenly aware of you and your place and what you were walking through and what you were doing. And this is where, and I say this with all the admiration I have for you. When I say I'm so proud of you, it's because I got to witness your growth from beginning to where you are at. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for you. I mean, it was watching you. And this is something that people need to know, is that if they're going to make a change, you don't just mentally say, I'm going to change my mindset and wake up the next morning and everything is clear and crystal and you're on a path. It doesn't work that way. It's still ups and downs, but the mindset is, I'm not going to waver. I'm not fucking giving up. I'm going to keep going forward. Because when you first started, that first step didn't change your anxiety, didn't change your fear, it didn't change anything, except you knew in your mind it was one step closer. The next day was another step and another step. And I just kept watching you make these steps. And then I started watching you talk. And it wasn't just your smile anymore. Your fake smile started to become a real smile. And then I started listening to you talk. And you were educating yourself. You were learning. You were learning about, the metaphysical side of life, which most people go their whole life and not understand that part of. It's out there. It's out there. You can't see it. You can't touch it, but it's there. And I was watching you walk through this, and then hearing you talk about meditating, and just all the things that you were doing. You really made a huge impact, I think, on a lot of people that I don't even know if today you recognize what you did, but your change. Remember when I told you we were talking about your business, and I was telling you that you single-handedly turned the tide on the attitude, the outlook of everybody in your company. The moment you changed, the moment you came in, even if it was a forced smile, I don't want to say fake, I want to say forced. You forced the smile, but you forced that smile through hardship, and that was almost better than a true bona fide, happy, I got the world by the balls kind of a smile, because it said, I got this, and I'm working through this. And it just bolstered everybody's spirit around you. And you have that kind of energy that changes people's perspective of whatever it is that they're doing at that point in time. You come a long ways. It's amazing.
I really appreciate you saying that. Those are super kind words, and you told me in real time.
Yeah.
You're someone that's noticed what's the work that has to be put in.
Yeah.
And the change, people
Yeah.
think, I'm going to show up and I'm going to change. I don't mean shit.
No, man.
You take about 2 years of change.
Yeah.
And then people start believing you.
Yeah.
But it's so hard when I say it's so hard, it's not. You need to show up. You need to do it. You need to do the work. The anxiety is going to be there. But what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you could get worse.
Yeah.
You can choose to get worse or to get better.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you what, it is so painful to come in and not know where you're at and not know how to talk to people. I had the best situation ever. I had a company that loved me.
Right.
The people loved me. So the coming back in was very soft.
Right.
Even if I didn't perceive it as soft at the time, right? Now I know that it was the easiest thing I could have ever done.
Oh, yeah. You were welcomed with open arms. There's no doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just, that is me now. I'm all positive. And it's not positive. I'm going to maximize the high vibrational opportunities that the universe gives to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to help everybody around me come along. And I'm going to do my best to be their wingman.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody. That's my teammates. That's my friends. It's my universe. Yeah. Because, God told me that I need to be good with service to my universe. I need to service my universe so my in turn my universe can service me back. Right. And give me everything that I've ever wanted.
Yeah. And let's talk about universe, because a lot of times I don't think, not everybody that's listening is going to really even understand the term of universe. What is universe? It's not the galaxies. I mean, it very well could be, but we're not Elon Musk with rockets. So, it's, at this point in time, our universe is, go ahead.
It's my point of view.
Yeah.
It's my world. It's my everyday. You're in my universe today. I'm in your universe today. Brian's in our universe.
Yep.
And you need to treat your universe how you want to be treated. You need to love yourself like you would want your universe to love you. That's one of the most difficult things, is truly figuring out how to love yourself and the universal gifts that you're given every day.
Right.
You don't think it's all positive, but as you go on and you understand that everything is working in your favor, it just becomes a little bit easier to appreciate the universe.
Yeah. And why? And why is it working in our favor? The universe works in a very, very clear-cut manner. It's nothing really hard to understand. But if you, and we'll use the term positive, but if you have a lot of really positive energy and you're exerting that energy, and that energy is going out into the universe, you're going to affect other people around you. And if you're affecting other people around you with this positive energy and they're feeling it and they're getting built up or ramped up, and in turn, they're spreading this positive energy, guess what's coming back? It's you're creating your own world is what it is. You're creating your own sense of world around you because, hopefully tonight we can talk about a little bit about, what's going on in our world and in our society, and not in a negative way. I want to talk about it in a positive way, because while we hear a lot of left and a lot of right, we're not hearing about a whole bunch more in the middle. A whole bunch of people like you, a whole bunch of people like Brian, a whole bunch of people like Michelle and Jill, and, people that are getting up every single day and running, surfing, going to the gym, raising children, just doing the things that we all do with gratitude. And that's the universe. That's where we live. That's where we all exist. And that's why, I have chosen in my life to only be around quality people. Because if I choose the opposite, I'm going to get exactly what they have to offer, and I don't want that. And I'm not saying everybody's all bad, but you know what? If there's something going on in people's lives that I don't agree with, why do I want to associate with that? Why do I want to put myself there? I don't. There's an old saying, however it is you see yourself, however it is you want to be, associate with those type of people, and you'll become. If you want to be an astronaut, you're not going to go and hang out with, farmers. I mean, nothing against farmers. Farmers are great. If I want to be a farmer, I'm going to hang out with farmers. I'm not going to hang out with astronauts. We'll turn it around. However it is you want to be, you go find that group and you hang with them. And that energy just creates energy, and it creates a happy, content environment.
That's our universe that we build.
Yeah.
Once I started understanding that I could create it, I could make it, I could tweak it, I could do anything to my universe I wanted. I could make it heaven, and I could make it hell. I can do anything. That part changed my life. And then, like you're saying, you bring the right people into your universe and it gets better. You bring the wrong people into your universe, it gets worse.
Yeah.
And once you start realizing that, and you don't make decisions out of ego and self-prophecy and self-fulfill, your universe gets great. And a lot of people don't understand. Universe is physical and it's mental, right? Mm-hmm. How do your thoughts serve you? Because your universal thoughts are the most important. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on in your brain.
Yeah.
Whatever we call that, the blacks in our eyes. I don't know what you call it. I think personally, we're all connected by the blacks in our eyes. I don't know where that person comes from that talks, but I'm pretty sure you're the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it's like saying God. God is to you something. God is to me something. God is to, Islam something. God to Jews is something. I mean, there's something there for everybody. But the concept is all the same.
Same.
It's all the same, you know. And for me, you know, the blacks in your eye are the soul in my heart. It's the same kind of thing. To me, probably because of my upbringing, soul just sound. I mean, I've always said my soul feeds me, you know, and I don't want to be around people that steal from my soul and don't fulfill me. You know, that's just empty. That's just like having a hole in your heart that can never be filled, you know, and I'm going to plug that hole up and I'm going to be with people, you know, like my beautiful wife. I mean, she fills my soul on a daily basis in so many ways. That's what I need. That's what I want to be around. I want to be around my children. They fill my soul. They fill my happiness. You know, that what we were talking about in the very beginning, you know, that happiness and that joy. The key to life. You know, I mean, it just is.
You just start creating better and better opportunities for your universe as you go along. Mm-hmm. I think people that like we all see God as different, right?
Right.
Like I think we all have a different perception, and all my meditation, and I'm very proud of my work I've done on this. Mm-hmm. And I always ask myself, like, who's my God? My God is a God that loves unconditionally, and it comes in every form possible, mm-hmm. right? And if it's loving me unconditionally, I know it's coming from that person, that source,
right?
Yeah. And that's kind of what I've come to in this life, because I've studied like Tibetan, the Hindu, you know, everything I can get my eyes on and Audible will talk to me about in religion. We're all searching for love.
Yeah.
And to me, God means love. Mm-hmm. And I always want love in my heart, and I always want to talk to love. And I just, for me to get better at this life thing, I've taken the meaning out of words that negatively impacted me.
Yeah.
Right. So I used to hate Jesus. The word bothered me because I didn't like to go to Sunday school. I love Jesus because if that is a form of love,
yeah,
dude, I'll take all the love I could get.
Yeah.
I need it. I need all the repairing I could ever get. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've chosen to accept it all in all different forms.
So what better spiritual leader than Jesus? I mean, regardless of anybody's beliefs, just the name Jesus, just the stories of Jesus, whether you believe that those stories are real or not real, or Jesus is Son of God, moot point.
Doesn't matter.
Moot point. Does not matter. Listen to the story of this man and all the good that he did. All he did is teach love. All he taught was awareness. All he taught was taking care of each other. And he did it through his actions, and he did it through his talks. What better spiritual leader do you want than a story or a person like that? That is just, you know, so you're right.
And I love diving deep into that more and more. And that's actually caused me to chase love in my life. Mm-hmm. And call it being grateful. I'm trying to find ways to love things in my life. I have this little Remarkable 2 notebook. Mm-hmm. So you can write on it, and then you can email it to yourself, and you get like a handwritten note. But my family, I try to do a couple times a week where I write them a love letter. And I say all the different ways that I'm in love with them. That forces me to change my point of view. Because they do shit that pisses me off,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm always cleaning up their dog shit, their pig shit, their cat shit.
Yeah.
But I sit down there at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, and I find ways to fall in love with them.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest thing ever, right?
Well, it's like that thing about gratitude, and it's like you said, yeah, there's so many times you get so pissed off because, you see them step right over the top of the dog shit, and then you're out there picking it up, and it's, that frustration built up. I always think about that, and then I think about, I wonder what dog shit I step over that frustrates them. I mean, the day that I think that I am that perfect, that I am, luckily I've got a great wife that is very fond of telling me when I step over the dog shit. So I'm pretty aware of when I do it. But yeah, I mean, that is such a great like analogy, you know, because the more you write something, the more you talk about something, as odd as it sounds, it's the more you believe it. It's becoming real in your life. It's not just a passing thought. It's become a reality.
You're like manifesting it and stuff.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And manifesting, when you learn to say thank you for things that are already happening, they happen more.
Yeah.
And it can't be something like, I just made $2, I want to make 4. Like, no. Like I'm big into prayer and talking out loud too, because I want to hear it, I want to think it, and I want to write it.
Right.
You know, and I go through my daily prayer and I just thank him for everything. And I say him, her, whatever it is, right? So
yeah.
I thank it for everything. I start out with my breath and I end it, you know, usually with thanking the universe for keeping everybody at my company safe.
Yeah.
But it's so wide ranging, and I enjoy that so much, connecting with whatever I'm connecting with. That's been super beneficial in my attitude change too, because you're sitting there and you're being grateful to maybe yourself, maybe God, maybe your universe. Like, you're just being grateful, and it shifts your insides, because you've just talked for 20 minutes thinking the air for everything.
Well, yeah. And the other part for me is when that happens, I find that now, because I'm talking to him, I'm accountable. I'm accountable now. I can't, you know, I can lie to myself all day long. You know, when you really have a belief and you have that spiritual connection, you can't lie there. I mean, there's just something, I mean, that's a no-go zone, you know, because you know better. You know, he knows all, you know, and he's going to come back and say, Mike, you're lying, dude. Don't be doing that. You know, I can lie to myself, and unfortunately, we have a tendency to believe our own lies. But when it comes to that, man, there's no lying. It's truthfulness. It's out there. It's open.
That's the cool part of the relationship with Source or God or whatever you want to call it. It's, you can be real. Yeah. You can work out your issues, and you don't have to tell them a fib, because you're telling it to yourself, which directly impacts your universe.
Right.
You're going to see your universe telling you fibs, and you're going to be like, well, what's happening?
Yeah.
Well, dude, check inside first.
Yeah.
See what you're doing. See what's going on. See what you need to connect with.
Yeah.
Because your universe is a direct mirror of yourself, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's this whole thing about the law of attraction. People really misunderstand law of attraction. You know, they think that it's, you know, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to really focus, and all I want to do is make $1 million. And if I keep doing this and thinking about it, you know, it's going to happen, and I'm going to make $1 million. Well, that's not law of attraction, man. That's, you know, law of attraction is thinking about something. It's about giving it energy. But it's also about opportunity arising. And that's where I believe, spiritually, that's where God comes into play. Because when I'm thinking about it, when I am giving it that energy, it's prayer. God will give opportunity. If I'm going to be sitting on my butt wishing for $1 million to come, there's never going to be a knock at my front door. Nobody's going to send me a box full of money. That ain't going to happen. But there will be opportunity knocking. So you better be aware. You better watch it. And when it does, that's when the sweat comes in, because it may not come easy. You may have to put out some effort. You may have to put out some energy. But law of attraction, to me, is directly connected to our spiritual beliefs. You know, it's, you know, and call it God, Jesus, whatever. There's a spiritual connection. And law of attraction's a real thing, but it's only real when it's connected to a source.
And when we say a source, it's going to be like a positive source.
Yes.
It can't just be, like you said, $1 million.
No,
because $1 million could be fraudulent activity.
Absolutely.
It could be cutting your sister out of inheritance.
Yeah.
It could be anything and everything, and the universe will do whatever you ask. Give me $1 million. Like it might give you an opportunity to screw somebody out of $1 million.
Yeah.
It comes abundantly from the universe. Being grateful, putting it out there consistently, and asking for very specific things.
Yeah. And when those specific things are manifested, when they're presented, that's where your freedom of choice comes in. Because like you said, it could be, yeah, man, it's $1 million sitting right there. All I got to do is screw my sister Mona out of it. You know, $1 million is mine. Okay, well, Mike Nunley is going to go, oh, no, fuck that. I'd rather go poor and be without and live in my van than do anything to my sister. That's me. That's that choice. So got to be a good person. That's the number one thing. I think if we went back all the way to the beginning when your light switch turned on, in your core, you're a solid person. You're a good person. So your growth was all built on the foundation of a good person. But your growth in somebody else that may not have that foundation, may not be a good person, could build this deck of cards on a false foundation of whoever that it is that they are. And at the end of the day, they're going to make bad decisions. It just is that way. You got to be solid. You got to be a solid person.
Universe always gives you opportunities to mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what God is choice.
Yeah.
You can do whatever. I'm going to be there for you.
Yeah.
But you can make it heaven or hell. Like I always say, I tell everybody, the Bible says there's a heaven, there's a hell. I think it's present day.
Yeah.
I think it's genuinely your perspective right now is heaven or hell. And how are you living?
Yeah.
And that's very strong for me because I do everything I can to continue heaven.
Well, it's a scary thought too, but it's probably not too far from reality of where we live and how we live and the things that we do and the choices that we have. I mean, it's so easy to make a left turn. So easy.
You have to want to be good when nobody's looking. You have to want your life to be the best life now, in the immediate future, in the long future. So in a lot of my meditations, a lot of the books I read, when making a decision for your universe, got to make sure it's okay with your universe. Got to make sure it doesn't adversely affect your universe. Because there's a lot of decisions that are good for us, make us feel good, that are actually phenomenal for our health, for our well-being, for everything, but hinder somebody else's. And in the beginning, I like you say, you have the greatest. I have the greatest wife too of all time. Like just allowing me to make the very selfish decisions to get better, to be able to understand that I have to make decisions for everybody to get better.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the universe too. It just has those little stepping stools. We're all looking for like a mountain jump.
Mm-hmm.
But this universal stuff, these levels are so small, so powerful, but they feel insignificant because we want so much more.
Yeah.
And
well, geez. I mean, that opens up the door into just where we're at today in our society. I mean, nobody is happy with small increments. I mean, everything has got to be gigantic. Everything has got to be now. I mean, I got to be pleasured right now, today. I got to have it. Give it to me. And if I don't, it's like, well, what the hell? What's wrong? Something's wrong. Instagram told me I was supposed to have everything right away. That's one of the really scary parts about social media. And I don't really look at it so much with guys like myself. I mean, I'm so far outside that realm. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everything that we see right here, you know, this technology, but you know, I've got my son Brian sitting over there taking care of all the technical parts of it. But, you know, I'm on Instagram, you know, I'm, you know, work and computers and emails and, you know, about as much as I can possibly probably handle right now. I can do that, but I'm not, my age group isn't being inundated with a lot of social media. I call it warfare. Just, you know, it's constantly dropping bombs. And I would say even Brian in early 20s isn't even their target. The target is your children, the 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old. They're going to grow up not knowing any difference. We grew up, even you grew up, you know a difference. You know what it was like to have a flip phone. You know, I mean, that, you know, these little kids are growing up with a computer in their hand and access to everything and anything at a given moment. And that creates a mentality of, I want it right now. I ordered it this morning. Amazon better have it on my porch by 3:00. I mean, that's, you know, I want it, and I'm not going to even get up out of my bed to go get it. You know, it's going to come to me, and it's going to come this afternoon. That's the worry of that. Where does that end? Where does that stop? You know, how do we fight that? How do we say, man, no, you got to get up. You got to maybe get in your little BMW and drive down someplace and give them your little card and pick it up and take it home. I mean, how do we combat that? I don't know, you know, because it's like, it's rapidly going.
It's like communication is almost being lost. Like, people are afraid to talk. People are afraid to, you know, I think the world is just going into a place of, it's so fast, so much technology, so much. It's going to have to like disconnect to come back, because right now we're so disconnected from each other.
Well, and we don't even know what the truth is anymore.
No,
we really don't. You know, I heard something it was a couple of weeks ago. It was on a Joe Rogan podcast, and he had some tech guys on, AT guys, and they were talking about that. I think it was 18 out of 19 of the top Christian social media sites were actually Russian troll farms that people listening to them had no idea. They were just getting fed, because with all the algorithms that they have now, they hone in onto a person and what their thoughts are, what their beliefs are, whatever that it is. And they're feeding that side. And then over here, they're feeding another side. And people aren't getting anything else in between. So what's happened? They're creating a bigger and bigger division between people. There was also, they were saying that there was a social media site that was there was an argument. I don't know what it was about, but one side was a pure left and one was a pure right.
It was a Reddit thread.
Reddit?
To my knowledge, yeah. I think Steve was talking about, it's a Reddit thread where it was right and left, you know, and they were arguing, going back and forth in the comments. And I'll let you finish it up. But yeah, it was a Reddit thread.
Yeah. So they're going back and forth, calling each other names and, you know, really protecting their side, whatever. I mean, it was real. Only problem was, it wasn't real people. It was two computers. It was programmed. And this is and this is what's going out there on social media, and that's where I'm really having a hard time, is that people are really developing hard line views and stances, not even quite sure where all the information's coming in from. You know, we're getting inundated with China. We're getting inundated with Russia. We're getting inundated with the left, with the right, with the, oh my God, I just want to find some happiness and go surfing. You know, it's just like unfucking believable what's going on in the world. And I agree with you. Somehow, some way, we're going to have to unplug at some point in some time. I don't know how or what, but if we don't do something, I don't know what's going to be like to be 35 years old, 68 years old with this generation now coming up.
Like, why does there have to be a side?
I don't know.
I think we're all a part of the human race.
Yeah.
Different colors. We all have the same body parts and shit.
Yep.
Like, why are we letting an outside force influence us to hate each other?
Yeah.
It's so mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
As a construction worker, I've worked with all types of people, right? And at the core, people are good people. And we're sitting here fighting over some bullshit we don't even know is true.
Yeah.
We're fighting to hate.
Yes.
And like, I do not get that.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay. In your travels now, in your emotional travels, in your mind travels of being a better person, what's the last thing you want to do? Last thing is, you don't want to hate. You don't want to hate, because what does hating do? Hating fills a part of what I call my soul, but it fills it and darkens it. And yet the more you hate, the darker it becomes, the less joy you have, because it keeps pushing the joy out. It keeps pushing the happiness. It keeps pushing the contentment out, because the more you hate, the more you just don't like anything, the more you're upset with everything. And yet we're allowing some force to create this hate, you know, and they don't care what it is. I mean, that's like the algorithms, whatever it is that you seem to be against, they're going to feed that. And that's what scares me, is that they know social media, you know, Zuckerberg knows what we're doing. He knows what to feed. He knows, I mean, it all came out in that grand jury hearing or whatever that it was, of what they are actually doing. And the scary part is nothing happened. We had that big thing and make a big deal about it. 2 days it was in the media, and boom, it disappears. Gone. Nothing came from it. Nothing changed from it. It's still all the same. So what do? How do we individually just got to be happy. Just got to be happy. You know, I know it sounds so simple. You asked me one time when I was putting up Instagram things about being happy, being nice, having joy. You know, what actually does that mean? And I've thought about that a lot since. And there is no real concrete answer to that, because I can say what my happiness is, and it may not be your happiness. The only thing that I can say that it is for sure is that sense of contentment in my soul. It's, I put up on Instagram a picture of my van. And I don't know if you ever saw that one, but I've said, of all the cars that I have ever had, of all the things that I have had and that I have done, and I have had Porsches, I have had Corvettes, I have had BMWs, I've had Mercedes, I've had them all. I have flown helicopters, I've been on private jets, I have done all these things. What makes me the happiest is my van, my little surf van, because it represents little Mike Nunley from Long Beach that I lost years ago. And it took me a long time to travel back, wake him up, and bring him back. I don't give a fuck about what I drive anymore. I don't care about clothes. Jill and I love to go to a nice dinner every once in a while. I'll walk into a nice restaurant in my jeans, flip-flops, and a T-shirt. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. If you got a problem with me, come tell me. So far, no one's had a problem with me. But my point is that to find that happiness in me was to find me. And I think that's going to be different for everybody because not everybody's me. Everybody's got to go find themselves and find out what that little piece is. So after all this time, I finally could answer your question.
It's being the genuine you.
Yes. Yeah.
I read a book about that, The Go-Giver, and that's the fourth rule. Mm-hmm. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself is being genuine to yourself.
Yes.
And that,
yeah.
If I were to answer that question you were just talking about, that would be the exact same thing. It's being content with right now.
Yeah.
Happy about it. Like, if you're content with right now, it's very easy to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really found, and this is for me, and it's not for everybody, but I've actually have an aversion to having a lot of stuff. Because I think I was there at one time, and for me, it represents more sadness than happiness. You know, when I had so much, the stuff that I had was imprisoning me because it became a fear of losing the stuff that you have. And the greatest joy in my life was when it finally all disappeared. And the relief that I had, that I no longer had to battle the thought and the idea of holding on to it, it was gone. The fear of feeling as though I failed, the failure didn't bother me because it was already there and it didn't kill me. You know, so that was my stepping stone out of it. And so the thought of having another GT3 or an M6 or, you know, whatever Corvette, it doesn't matter to me anymore. I don't care because it almost scares me to have that. I would rather just have my nice little surf van, my new surfboard, a day at the beach, hanging out with good friends. That's a happiness. That's that sense of fulfillment.
A lot of people never understand why you wouldn't add on to your happiness because they don't understand it might be taking away from your happiness. Mm-hmm. Some of the smartest people in the world that I've ever met and never talked to and ever given me advice it's come down to simplicity. Mm-hmm. And if you can simply be happy because you love your situation, like that's the goal in life.
Yeah.
Right. That you can be the genuine you. Like when you say you're in prison from the things you think you have to have.
Absolutely.
I spent my first 35 years being in prison, you know, and the fear of losing is so scary and embarrassed. Yeah. Like you're scared that everybody's going to think you're a failure when they're actually wondering, how the hell are you juggling all that?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And I understand that because it happened recently where my fear of losing it went away. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you everything that went to that, but that would be like an 18-hour story. But like, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And content with like when you feel like you're going to lose, it just takes so much energy out of you.
Absolutely. And that's really, you know, sharing a story with you right now and, you know, all the other 2 or 3 people that are listening, is I've never really shared that with anybody. I mean, that's a real, it was a huge turning point in my life, you know, and I think you and I, the only difference is I got to see both sides of you. When you and I met years ago, and we sat down at that restaurant. I was on my path to finding me. I was working really, really hard and I always termed it finding little Mike Nunley from Long Beach, because, that's who I needed to find. I needed to find that guy where a new surfboard was the highlight of his fucking life, not a car, not a house, not anything. It was something simple like that. And you would think that would be just a mindset change and it would be easy to find, but it isn't, because, man, that is so full of fear, and it is so full of just, inexplicable emotions and feelings of anxiety and stress. And, it was really hard to cleanse yourself, because you can't find what you want until you cleanse all that shit away from you, and when you clean and you push it all aside, and now you got a clearer scope on what you want and what you need. And then your journey to find yourself begins. And it was when you and I met, I was just beginning that journey.
It's crazy how universal lives pass at different times to help each other. Because seeing that, how long was that ago? 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
Like we're still in each other's lives for a reason.
Yeah.
Like it's all crossing for a reason. It's crazy it's crazy to even know that was going on. Because at that time, I just knew you as Mike and, great friend, great person. And you're going through all these spiritual changes, you know, that was probably preparing you to help my universe at some point, because God knew that I needed that.
Right.
And it probably put me in your life to help your universe, because God knew that you needed somebody to love you too.
Yeah.
It's like the coolest thing ever, right?
Yeah. It was, my godmother, who just recently passed away, she was 91, I believe. My mom's very best friend in the whole world. Still to that day, they were best friends at 91 years old. Went to high school together. I mean, it was crazy. But she used to tell me, Michael, how do you ever expect to have empathy for anyone unless you have experienced hard times yourself? So whenever I went through hard times, whenever we're doing things, I always remembered, my godmother, Mona Clements, and those ring in my ears. She told me two things that I will never, ever forget. One was what I just said, and the other was when I was going through a divorce, and my children, I think Chris was 7 or 8. Sarah was either 8 or 9, and Matt, I think, was 10. And she sat me down and she said, Michael, whatever it is that you do, you always take care of those little babies, because what's going on is not their doing. Your responsibility is to make sure that they're okay. And I never forgot that. And I think that those simple words made me an amazing dad. Even though it was a single dad and, split family, my daughter says to this day, we never noticed that it was not supposed to be that. It was just normal for us because we were always in their life, So Mona Clements, two things to this day, still rock me.
It's crazy how you get that direction out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That impacts your life and how you do it. I've always looked up to you and how great of a dad you were.
Thank you.
Not were.
Yeah.
Your kids are growing up solid. They call you and talk to you. I always thought that was weird because I didn't grow up like that, right?
Yeah.
And it, like the time, effort, and energy you put into them, it shows, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're listening, but he is so proud of you. And when he talks about you guys, he is just beaming, smile from ear to ear.
Yeah.
And I just never seen that, right? Like, you are so proud of these people. There's just such a beautiful connection there. Yeah. And you give me a lot of inspiration to try to be the best dad possible, because I want that too,
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, that the rewards for being a dad, they're not there immediately. They are in little bits and pieces, and it's just enough to kind of keep you going down the road. But it's later on. It's later on. I can remember Stacy, Matt, my oldest, was telling Jill that when I moved back to Georgia to work for All Crane, Matt was just upset. I don't want to say devastated, but I mean, he was really upset that I was gone. And he would tell Stacy, he's not just my dad, he's my best friend. And it was like, man, you know, that made me really stop in my tracks and really reevaluate my life and what I'm doing. It got that kind of an impact on people, on your children. You know, I try to do that with Brian, you know, and, you know, I want him when he's 40 years old to look back and say that Pops was his best friend. You know, that's just important, you know. And I got to tell you right now, too, finally the adoption on the twins went through. So that was a long time coming.
That's so amazing that you're extending that love. You're good at that, man.
Yeah.
You're good at making people feel loved. You're good at taking on responsibilities because it's the right thing to do. And you're making great dads and great moms.
Yeah.
Like that. If you can give anything to the world to make it a better place, I think that would be the most important thing.
And that's a great statement. And I appreciate that you're saying that to me, but that's just a great statement, period. You know, a blanket cover over all dads. Dads, this is your job, man. It's your job. You took it on. You know, don't flake on it. You know, don't be one of those guys that, I mean, I never really understood that. I never understood how, you know, I'm going through a divorce, things are tough, you know, I'm gone. Bye, see you later. And then just disappear. What the fuck? How do you do that? How do you do that? You know, I mean, I was never out of my kid's life. Ever. And I still can remember sitting in my home, and I'd been divorced, you know, for a couple of years, or at least separated for a couple of years, but still had the kids coming and going and everything was good. And I was putting some stuff away, and I had a picture frame, and it had a picture in it, and I was going to put another one in there. So I opened it up and I took the picture out, and underneath it, there were 3 pictures. There was a picture of Matt, Chris, and Sarah when they were all like probably 3, 5, 6, and, you know, in that range, all of them together. I looked at that picture and probably sobbed for at least 30 minutes uncontrollably, just looking at my children. And it's just like, that's what dads are supposed to do. Dads, I'm going to give you one bit of advice. Do not be afraid to show your emotion. Do not be afraid to cry. Do not be afraid to say, I love you. To this day, my boys, and you know them, all big, strong law enforcement, Brian sitting there, you know, all scraggly, you know, I don't shake hands. I don't shake hands. I don't think I've ever shook the hand of any of my boys. Always a hug. Always, I love you. How many times do I tell you I love you, Brian?
Very often.
Yeah.
And it's appreciated.
Yeah. You know, it's just, you just do it. That's what we do. That's what dads do. I'm tired of dads not being dads. You know, just fucking man up.
Show up, man.
Yeah.
Be consistent.
Yeah.
Be as good of a worker at home as you are at work.
Yeah.
And know that you can make a mistake on everything you do, and you're still the greatest dad of all time because you're trying.
Yeah.
They don't care.
No, they don't fucking care, man.
You're trying.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You don't even have to try. You just got to show up. Man, you just got to show up. You just got to be there. You just got to be a dad. You know, put a fucking smile on your face. You know, sit down and, you know, my daughter, you know, Maddie is 17 and a half. They'll be 18 in March. The other day, Dad, you want to watch SpongeBob with me? Fuck yeah. We sat there for like 2 hours watching SpongeBob. Greatest time ever. Greatest time ever. I got a fucking earring. I don't know if you noticed that, man. See that?
I saw that.
Yeah. You know, not something I would have ever done on my own. So I'm taking, you know, Maddie wants me to take her to get 2 piercings. 4 in total, but, you know, whatever. Okay. So my thing on piercings is, I don't care. Don't get a tattoo. Get a piercing. They close up. And, you know, big deal. So whole time we're driving down there, Dad, you need to you need to get a piercing. Get a piercing. I'm not going to get a piercing. I'm not going to get a piercing. So we get there, and then she's looking at the case and waiting for her turn. And she goes, look at Dad. See, right here. You should get this piercing. You should get this piercing. You really want me to get a piercing? Yeah, that'd be so cool. Okay, I'll do it for you. Went in there, got the piercing, came home. Trying to make this story short. Come home, Jill sees it. You're not going to keep that, are you? It's not real, is it? I mean, it's been a big deal about it. I just go, no, it's real. It's real. Maddie wanted it. I went into the other room, after about 5 minutes of that. And Maddie and Lexi both led into her. Mom, you hurt Dad's feelings. He did that for me, and it was the best day of my life. It's like, I heard that, and I thought, oh, great, man. I'm never taking this thing out, am I? But that's a dad. Dads will do shit. You know how much shit I've gotten because of that earring? Going to work, going to Christmas party, going to, what the hell you do that for? How guys are. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't fucking care.
It reminds you of how much you love her every time somebody says that.
Well, you know what? Every morning when I get up and I shave and I see it, I think of her. So you know what? I don't fucking care what people say. Plus, too, that's the other part about being 68. You get to a certain point in time in your life, you really don't care. You really don't care what somebody else is going to say about you. It's just like, dude, you missed the boat on that one. You should have been here 20 years ago if you're going to give me advice.
You got to care what you say about you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole thing that matters. That's an amazing story about the earring. I think that's the most beautiful thing ever, because I think in society we say no so much.
Yeah.
And just in one of my rules in my life, if I have no genuine reason to say no, I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty open. So,
that's true.
That brought me to, tear in my eye when I heard that, because that's just so amazing. Mm-hmm. That you would step into her world and be part of her universe for a minute and make everything okay.
Yeah.
And then you get the support of, that's the best, like that for a dad, that fills you up.
It doesn't get,
you need it.
It doesn't get any better, man. Just those little things. And they're so unexpected, it's like, even I'll say this in front of Brian, it's like having him here in the studio, taking care of all the cameras, the lighting and the editing and doing all that, stuff for him. So we can team up. This is a dad thing, I mean, this is one of those things that makes me feel fulfilled, that, do something sharing it like this. It's, and I do that with every one of my kids. It's just, just being a dad, man. I mean, between Jill and me, we got 9 kids. I got to be a dad.
And you choose to be a great one.
That's
I think that's so amazing. And I hope for anybody that's listening to, like, that they just take the opportunity to try.
Yeah.
Take the opportunity to just, it's so cool to be a good dad. And like you said, you don't even have to try. Like you said, you show up.
Yeah.
You've won over, like, I don't know, 80% of society there. Like
right there.
And it's just, man, my favorite thing about being a dad is learning myself.
Yeah.
Like, because they're me.
Right.
Learning how to change and challenge what bothers me.
Right.
Learning how to communicate to them so we can understand on our level.
Right.
And it's like so amazing to be able to figure it out at your own pace. I don't have to do it with a bunch of people I don't know.
Well, you know what? The really cool part where you're at, and you're going to appreciate it more and more as time goes on, is that you're at the beginning stages of it. So what you know today about being a dad is going to help you 10 years from now. But honest to God, you don't know what you don't know yet. Mm-hmm. And it's a learning curve for you. And it's just, just keep the right attitude. Just keep the open-mindedness. Just always put them first. Always put them first. That's, one of the things I like to tell dads is, you know what? You tell your kid you're going to go to the park and you're going to throw the football and you're going to spend the day with them. And you get a call from your buddies that got an opening and they want to go play golf and it's the best golf course around. You say, fuck no. You say, no, I got plans with my boy.
You better be throwing that football.
You better be throwing that football. You know what? Because going and playing golf with your buddies, that memory's going to come and go. Playing football at the park with your son, you may not remember details of it. He's going to remember every single detail. And that's the key right there. You know, just be a dad. Don't quit on it. You know, you're cheating yourself.
That's part about making your universe great, man.
Yeah.
Like what you put into it, you get out of it, right? Like we keep saying, and that's just, and then being like, we both have pretty, parallel views on being good to your wife too.
Oh yeah.
That's another huge part of our universal alignment is, I think as men, we're taught to grow up and provide money and expect everything in return.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, from the day you've been with Jill and how you've talked to her and how you've treated her and how you've told me how you treat her and your conversations, it gave me really good insight into how I should do mine, you know, how I should make it like a team effort and be on her team and on our team and my team, you know, like it's all one.
Right.
That's been an amazing, as much as being a parent is like the greatest thing, being a partner is so awesome. You get that fulfillment out of your life when you're nice to each other.
And I appreciate you saying that, you know, my words helped you, you know, but it is one of the philosophies of life and parenting and marriage is that right now all your emphasis is on your children and you're doing it in partnership, and rightly so, because this is what they need at that point in time. But it's not too many years from today. They're not going to need as much guidance. As a matter of fact, they're going to rebuke a lot of that guidance. And one day they're going to be off into school, or they're going to be off into the world, and they're going to be off doing whatever it is that they're doing. And you're going to look around and Michelle's still there, you know, and we can't forget that. We can't forget that this is a union for life, in that everything that you went through with her, that she went through with you, to the point of having children, to the point of raising children, to whatever, rock solid, stayed side by side. And the rewards you guys will share together in the future. It's nothing. I mean, my relationship with Jill changed my life, you know, and I see in you the same thing. And I see it again from a distance as a voyeur, you know, and I see the change in Michelle with you, about you, how she looks at you, how she thinks about you. I don't want to say it isn't a reverence. It's just love. It's just undying love. You can see it in her. You can see the happiness. When I see pictures of you guys together as family, she's radiating. You know, when I saw her, I haven't seen her for a while, but when I did see her and the kids around, she's radiating. There's you by what you have done, how you have changed, have brought that out in her. And the two of you guys together you can see the strength in that union. You guys are really doing an amazing job all the way around, kids and your marriage.
And we love it. We are enjoying it. Like, we're enjoying making each other confident.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to take full responsibility for the beat down. Mm-hmm. As a man, I thought I had to beat her down every single which way.
Uh-huh.
And I realized, just through life and all this stuff, is
right.
You got to be the wind in her wings. You got to be her confidence builder. You got to make her feel pretty. You got to make her feel smart. You got to make her feel like she's worth time in this universe. Mm-hmm. You got to make her feel every other way. And if she feels that way, you need to repeat it.
Yeah.
And you need to keep telling her, and you need to keep, like, for some reason, I never thought you had to do that.
Well, let's be honest, man. Come on, you know, you were going down a road blindfolded because there wasn't anything laid out for you. You didn't get to see that. You know, that part of your life was taken from you. So you didn't know. You didn't know what it was like to be, you know, to grow up to, you knew what it was like to grow up to be a man. You didn't know what it was like to grow up and be a married man. You didn't know what you were supposed to do and what you weren't supposed to do. You thought it was old school and, you know, just, you know, thumb down and go to work and make the money and, you know, make sure the house was clean, the laundry's done, go to the grocery store and fix me dinner. And that was, you know, that's your job. No, man, you know, you had to learn it the hard way.
You know how long it took me? 17 years to learn that. We've been together 19 years as of December 22nd, a couple days ago, I think. And it took me 17 years to figure out that it's a team that the coolest thing that I started doing was the dishes. So I used to get so mad at the dishes not being done. I walked by them every day and I would motherfuck her from here to anywhere. And she would see it in my eyes when she came in. Michelle just doesn't like doing the dishes. And I love doing the dishes because I want them done.
Yeah.
And I started doing them. And I started doing them every single morning. And I saw how important it was to her that I did the dishes and set her day up.
Right.
Something that had been so bad turned into something so awesome. And I do the dishes now.
Yeah.
Because I love it when she walks in and I'm making breakfast and I see her whole body relax because she doesn't have, you know, we have 8 people living in our house.
Yeah.
So we literally clean the cupboards out every day and then put it back in every morning, you know? Yeah. So that's learning how to do that. Learning how to find ways to love her, how to find ways to make her feel like important and confident because I need way more than me to get through this life. I need sources of confidence. I need sources of happiness. I need sources of logic. I'm a very emotional guy. I'm up and down, you know, and I need her to slap me into, or I need her to bring me back to my logical side, but I need her to have the confidence that I'm not going to rip her head off when she tries.
Right.
And I didn't understand that for a while, you know, learning the little steps, the little embarrassing steps you make on the way.
Yeah.
When you have an accepting, loving person, it makes it so much easier. And Michelle is unconditional love. God sent me the most amazing angel that loved me unconditionally from the day I met her to far beyond today.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that could be the turning point if you really look at it. If, you know, that was God trying to show me, hey, stupid, you know, like you can do anything wrong and this crazy woman just still loves you, you know, and I've made it my life's goal. And I call it brownie points as laughing, but I keep this running total in my head of how many brownie points I can get all day because I owe so much.
Oh.
My whole life. And
yeah, I would like to sit here and argue and say, no, Wes, no, that's really not true. No, but in reality, you're right.
All of them.
You know, yeah.
And I don't get mad about getting them.
No.
I don't get, if I pick up the dog shit 20 days in a row because my kids don't want to, it's okay.
Yeah.
If I do the dishes every single day for the rest of my life, if I make the breakfast, if I have to take out the trash, I'm the groundskeeper. I'm the man.
Yeah.
I'm doing the shit that I was put on this earth to do to support my family.
Right.
And I'm not going to bitch about it.
No.
I'm going to be happy about it. I make fun of Rocky and Presley all the time now because I say, you're going to do this in a little bit once I teach you and you can carry this bag.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that works out for you. But you know, you're absolutely right. When it comes to, it's like we were talking earlier about the universe and, you know, what you put out in the universe, you're going to receive. Mm-hmm. Okay. Nothing explains that more vividly than a relationship at home. You know, what you give that relationship is what you're going to receive out of that relationship. If you're hard ass, hardcore, hard whatever, guess what you're going to get in return? You're going to get hard ass, hardcore. And, you know, that's what you're going to get because, you know, you're creating somebody that's got now a defensive mechanism built in. You treat somebody kindly, you treat somebody with love, you treat somebody with respect, you build up their character, you build up their self-esteem. you're going to get an amazing relationship full of love and happiness and joy. It's so simple that, again, I don't know why people can't just see it. There are so many. This is one of my other real kind of irritants in life, if you want to call it that. And there are so many books that are written about so many things. And it's like, how can you write a whole fucking book on marriage? And it's so simple. Treat each other kindly. Treat each other nice. Love one another. Talk with love. Be in love. Build each other up. Don't tear each other down. I mean, if I were to write a book on it, it would be one page. How can you have 200 pages in a book over the same fucking thing? It's like people want to read, people want to study, but it's almost like they want to be able to read it and think, this is just too complicated, so I'm going to keep doing the same thing. I'm not really sure that books change anybody. It just, stop. Stop. Hit the stop button on the treadmill, step off of it for a second, look around and say, what kind of a marriage do I want? And then create it. It's not hard. It's the same whether it doesn't even have to be a marriage. It can be a girlfriend or a boyfriend. It could be, your best friend. It could be, what kind of a friendship do you want? What kind of a girlfriend do you want? If you want somebody that's kind and open and generous, then all you got to do is be fucking kind, open, and generous, and be that way, and be consistent in being that way, and build up their self-esteem, and constantly tell them, like what you're saying and what I do. There's not a day goes by. Not a day goes by I don't tell Jill how beautiful she is. Not a day goes by. I tell her how smart she is. I tell her how much I appreciate her. I tell every single day. Now, is that to say she doesn't drive me fucking crazy once in a while? Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. She admits it. But you don't think I don't drive her fucking crazy too? Oh, hell yeah. But that's part of it. Do we argue? Do we get in fights still? Yeah. Yeah, we do. We're two human beings. We're going to get up, one thinking one's going to be thinking the other. And then next thing you know, you got some kind of a cross thing. But you know how long our arguments go? About 5 minutes these days. Because neither one of us want to argue. And I told you my recipe.
That window.
That window.
I use that all the time. My shot clock goes off when I notice I'm being embarrassing to myself.
Yeah.
When I'm not saying loving things and I'm not being a loving person and a kind person. Mm-hmm. My shot clock, even if I can't control my emotions at that point.
Yeah.
I have you in my head. How fast could I say sorry?
Yeah.
And you could ask any of the people I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
If I go off,
yeah,
they're going to get a call within probably 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah.
For whatever it is, because I'm sorry for the not kind words. I'm not sorry for the, the emotion or how I'm feeling or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that is the greatest thing of all time.
Because you know what it does? It relieves you that sense of embarrassment of what you just did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody gets emotional. Everybody's going to get upset. I mean, if somebody's doing something wrong and they know that they're doing something wrong and you've kind of said, don't do that because it's wrong, and they go and they do it anyway, it's going to piss me off. Now, how I handle being pissed off is a whole other thing. Now, if I handle it in a way that embarrasses me to think about it, yeah, I'm going to fucking say I'm sorry. That's just, now if I handled it with some dignity, if I handled it with some care and said, no, man, you're just wrong. You know you're wrong. We need to fix this or whatever. I handle it in some kind of a way that I can walk away with my dignity intact. No, I'm not going to call and say I'm sorry, but man, if I go off, which I could do, and I try not to anymore, and it's getting less and less, and that's another great thing with Jill. Jill has coached me well on, how I handle situations. I'm like, I'm just being me.
She's in the battle with you, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the partnership that nobody sees is even if you're talking to her angry at at the conversation that you're having with her,
Yeah.
she knows it's not at her.
Yeah.
She knows it's your anxiety. She knows you have to get over it.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing because they're letting you be Wes Staley or Mike Nunley.
Yeah.
And they accept that they know you're going to come back to reality in a minute. But I didn't even think that was an option.
Yeah.
You know? And I did, dude. This weekend, I was Christmas Day, right? Saturday. And Sunday, we wake up and we're supposed to go camping out in the desert. And our dog's jumping our fences, right? And Michelle's like, we need to build a gate. I don't know how to build a damn gate, you know, but I'm dad. I'm going to build a gate.
Yeah.
Kicking and screaming the whole way. Just pissed off, yelling at her in Lowe's with the 3 kids. Like, I lost my shit a little bit because I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And she just dealt with me. She pushed through it. She just sat there with me. She knew I would do it. She knows I'm going to sit there and I'll get embarrassed and I'll figure it out.
Right.
But it was so cool to be in the moment, knowing I was being an absolute jackass. And she loved me enough to sit there through that with me and be embarrassed herself because I embarrassed us.
Yeah.
And could wait till later to talk to me about it. You know?
Yep.
And tell me how funny I was kicking and screaming the whole way when I just had to build a damn fence.
Yeah. 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 But, you know, but that's the other part too. And you'll learn this. In time. One of the hardest things for me is to jump into something that I don't know anything about. I mean, I'm uncomfortable. I'm just everything and any emotion you can feel. When I'm involved in something that I don't know, I am not a happy person. It's like this podcast, Brian will tell you in the very beginning last year when we first started it, I wanted it a certain way. I was going to do this a certain way. If anything went outside of line, I was like, you know, no, fuck this. We're going to do it my way. I mean, I was an ass. But as time went on, I learned just to relax a little bit. I'm learning a little bit more about it. I'm a little bit more comfortable. But man, if I don't know something, but my point with you is building the gate. All of a sudden, you're out there, you're there all day, you got all the shit, you put it all together, you build the gate, you walk away going, that felt pretty fucking good, man. I'm pretty happy with Michelle, come and look what I did. It's like, we are a weak species, men are. You know, it doesn't take much to piss us off, and it really doesn't take much to make us feel good about ourselves either.
You're right about that.
Yeah. You know, Jesus, you know, but you know, there's so many things that we control that I think that over time we've given up control of, and I don't want to blame everything on social media because that's really not it. It's, I think just life in general, we kind of just gave up thinking that I can make a difference. You know, I think that maybe the world just got too populated. Maybe the world just moved too fast. Maybe our heights are too high as far as, you know, what we need, what we feel that we need to accomplish before we feel good about ourselves. It's no longer enough to build a gate. It's, you know, we have to we have to build a rocket and go to the moon kind of a thing. I don't know, but life is not as hard as I think we all think that it is. You know, I think that it's a lot simpler. We just need to appreciate and value what's simple instead of trying to make it too fucking difficult. You know, it's not that hard.
And when you start thinking that you don't matter,
Mm-hmm.
you're losing.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about the universe, How many people are in your universe?
Very small group. It's my core.
And then talk about...
Although, not to interrupt your thought right there, I was thinking about that the other day. My core, when you think about it, how many, it's not just me and Brian and Jill and the girls and then my other kids, 9 kids. It's 9 kids plus spouses plus grandkids. And then there's my siblings and their spouses and their kids and their kids' spouses and grandkids and my mom. And then all of a sudden, even if you think about it as my tight family core, before we even go out to the Wes and Michelle's in my life, and it's a big core. There's a lot of people there, that are in my universe. The people that I care about, the people I think about, the people that it's like when you think about your eulogy and what is somebody going to say, it's your eulogy is not going to be about shit that you've got. It's not going to be about how much money you have or don't have. It's going to be about what kind of person were you. And my view is, if I die and Wes remembers a little antidote or something that I said to help you, in being a family man or a dad, or, Brian remembers how I shrugged my shoulders over something, what. And if people go through the rest of their lives emulating something that you did in your life, you've had a charmed life. You've touched a lot of people in the right way. Because fuck the money, the cars, the houses, the jobs, all that stuff. It doesn't make who you are.
And your word matters.
Yes.
When people say you don't matter, that's why I said that about the universe is your small little tight knit 300-person universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is an audience bigger than most people have, and they know they have.
Yeah.
So when you're making all these good decisions, it's gravitating onto your universe.
Yeah.
And those people are sending out high vibrational waves to their universe.
Yep.
So, I think everybody matters. I think you get in this thing of society of, I need to be this or I need to be that to matter.
Right.
When you don't realize your audience is just waiting for you to step up.
Right.
And waiting for you to say nice, kind shit to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
To make them feel better,
Yeah.
And that's just, I see this social media age coming hard and strong. And I love it. I love it for quick information. I use social media personally for good quotes. Mm-hmm. That's just what I do.
Right.
And I'm going to use it as a tool with my kids about what reality is and isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You could look at my wife's Instagram. It doesn't look like reality. We live a gangster life.
Yeah.
Like the coolest life of all time. I'll tell you this right now. Coolest life of all. But Michelle in her pictures makes it look a million times cooler, you know? And our kids need to know that. And they need to find love from within and find love from themselves first. And maybe find a little joy from looking at some pictures of their friends or like a good quote that makes their day or something like that. Yeah. I don't want them to get their ideas and visions from the internet.
Right.
Unless it's positive.
Well, I think that you're absolutely right. I think that used properly with restraint, the internet, social media, it's a cool thing. I mean, look at this. Mm-hmm. That's why the whole time that I said that I was going to do podcasting, it was going to be with regular people, normal people. But I want people with a good story. And I'm not going to bring somebody on that's going to be a burden on my universe and have to sit here for 2 hours listening to something that I don't want to hear, either. So I've got some control over it. But it's also, I want to use it for good. I want it stuff like this. This is real positive. This is real positive thought. This is, you know, positive vibrations that are going out into, you know, our universe, your universe, Brian's universe. Hopefully he's sitting here hearing something that, you know, resonates with him, and he's going to go talk to his friends in his universe. And it's just all, you know, and it all comes back in and around. You know, it's because really what we're looking at right now, and this is again coming from me, at my age though, I mean, I grew up, you know, in the late 60s and the early 70s, and there was John Lennon preaching, you know, peace and love and laying in bed with Yoko Ono for 30 days or whatever the heck that he did. You know, there was a lot of that going on. There was a lot of the peace rallies and, you know, the anti-war, and there was Woodstock, and there, you know, and all of that, excuse me, led to change. So there is some positive in, because that was a definite division. You know, you had your people thinking that Vietnam War was the greatest thing ever, and, you know, they, you know, pro Johnson and, you know, fuck Reagan, and, you know, I mean, there was just all that stuff that was, you know, going on back then too. So there was definitely division, but we came out of it with some very positive and loving influence. I'm hoping that what we're seeing today does the same thing, but the rhetoric that we're hearing is coming in at such a fast pace that we can't keep up with it, and we don't know whether it's real or not real. We knew John Lennon was real because it was a real photograph in a real newspaper written in ink and took 2 days to get to us, but we knew that there was some substance there. Now you can create anything and you don't know whether it's real or not. You know, so that's the scary part. But if we can somehow use social media in a positive manner, and that's up to all of us. I'm not giving up control to anybody.
And we have to figure it out. Like it's a new kind of communication to tell our kids that that's not reality.
Yeah.
Like everybody's always in the work world, right? We're always, the fucking Gen Z, Gen X, what the fuck next, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, really, that's a different level of communication, and we need to figure out how to be able to dance with the devil and pull the good out of it.
Yes.
And that is social media. It is the devil. It is evil. It is meant for everything to steer your mind and lose control.
Yeah.
How do we teach them to be on that next level? Because we are going to be an evolved species that has to deal with that at some point.
At some point, sometime, yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, well, we better battle this now when they're young.
Well, what scares me the most about it is that they're doing everything that they can to pull us out of reality. They don't want us thinking about the sunset anymore. If you want to see a sunset, here, put these goggles on. You know, we'll show you sunsets in a whole different world. You know, it's like, you know, that's what it's leading to. I mean, with the whole change of what, you know, Facebook is talking about with, so Brian, what's that called?
Metaverse,
yeah.
I was reading the book Wild at Heart on the way over, and it was saying something like, you need to make the reality more fantastic and awesome than the picture on the phone or the iPad. And that just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's really up to us to make it cool.
Yeah.
To go on a hike, to catch butterflies, to do whatever it is besides looking at that screen.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to balance it, because it's a tool sometimes. We can use it for teaching, for learning. Like Presley can learn how to draw butterflies, draw turtles, and I don't even have to talk to her. She just watches this kid sketch it out on YouTube, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then she's watching 14-year-olds that are saying kind of weird things and speaking out of her knowledge. She can't even decipher if it's good or bad. She doesn't know.
Right.
And that's the scariest thing of all time.
That's right.
But you can't. Okay, you can. I try not to get mad at it. Mm-hmm. I try to sit there and say, "Oh, wrong move," and pull back and just really figure out how to make it good, because it's going to be in our life. We just, you know, we have to learn how to still have a connection there too, and it's new to us.
Yeah.
We got lost in what really reality was, watching all these memes and all this information that's posted at, the drop of a hat. Based on what side you're on, you decide if it's real or fake.
Well, also too, you can decide what you read by how you believe. If it's the left side, if you're fully on the left, or you're fully on the right, whatever. I don't want to hear what they got to say. I want to. This is the feel good stuff for me right here. So I'm going to just focus in on all of that stuff, because what they're going to say, is conspiracy stuff, and I don't believe it, and it's harder for me. So fuck that. I'm going to come over here and take the easy route, and that's you got to be a little bit disciplined, in it. So.
Yeah, it's that's one thing we've had a kind of a battle with Michelle and I here lately is, do we allow to have Presley and Rocky have their YouTube channel? Mm-hmm. Do we want it out to the universe for all the good and the bad that could come from it? Yeah. And that's I haven't done it yet. Yeah. And I'm a very open and pushy person. When I want to do something, it is done. Yeah. But just battling that in your head, making sure that you're making the right decision, putting your kids in the best possible position to succeed. Yeah, you're right. It's
hard, because you are definitely giving up some control on that. It's it's a hard thing to do. Yeah, you could have YouTube for kids and hope that's being monitored correctly, but you never know. You don't know. But then again, too, you got the upside of what they can learn, how they can express themselves, and
and that's the cool thing about the homeschooling too, is I can hear what happened yesterday, right, by the questions I'm being asked. Yeah, I know what they've been doing, and that's such a beautiful thing about homeschooling. Yeah, is you get to be in their reality, you get to hear what because they're very curious, and another thing about homeschooling that I wanted to bring up, people think that those kids are weird, right? Like that's what I always got is homeschool kids are weird. They're not like socialized. They're kind of off. At least in my circle, I was always told that. Yeah. Yeah. And it's only if the parents are weird. Like if you socialize. Yeah. And we've made it a point too.
I think that's an old stigma attached to homeschooling. I think anymore that actually I would almost argue that maybe homeschoolers are more socialized, because if you're in the right homeschool and you're in the right group of people, they're going to search out places to go and things to do. I mean, I watch you guys. You've been to police departments, fire departments, you've been to parks, and you've gone on hikes. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you guys are doing, to get kids out there and socializing. So.
Yeah, and learning about other people in good settings. We have a really cool group out there. It's probably like at their strongest point, maybe 30 kids. Mm-hmm. Like that's a lot of kids and parents to get together who do their own thing. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the cool thing about today's homeschool environment. Yeah. Is people are looking for groups. People are looking for things to do.
And that's one, I guess, advantage that, we've been talking a little negatively about social media, not purposely, but that's one of the upsides is social media. When you are homeschooling, it opens up the door for communication with other people that are like-minded.
And those people, like people who are all trying to be creative, there's just another level of creativity that you're willing to go to. Yeah. And it's so much fun to like.
Well, I think that homeschooling definitely has such a great place in today's world, especially. But I think also too, I mean, there's a lot of kids that are going to typical school, public school, private school, but the typical, brick and mortar that shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there. I mean, there's a lot of really, really smart kids that are doing very poorly in that environment, that if they were given a fresh start in a place where they had free speech, they were learning it in a different manner, they were not regimented, would probably excel. I don't think that our school system is set up for everybody.
Set up for one person, and it's the school. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's just the the hard part about it is if you don't fit in the mold, and I don't know about you, but I didn't fit in the mold, and I was in
No, I didn't.
what they call the ESL.
Oh, you're over there shaking your head. No, that's for sure.
Right? Like, you're dumb. You need to go sit over there.
Yeah.
And you can't learn what we're teaching.
Yeah.
And that's just incredible. Like,
Yeah.
that's another thing, just the coolest thing about, like, you want to talk about helicopters?
Yeah.
Let's teach you everything about life through helicopters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But that's one of the things. I mean, Brian's over there shaking his head. I'm laughing at him. But absolutely the possibility that I'm just saying this not because he's sitting there and he's our son, but probably one of the smartest young men that I've ever, IQ wise. Fucking did horrible in school. Had no interest in it. They just didn't teach it the right way. All of it was wrong. If he had been given the right tools, there's no telling what he might have done with it. It's like, and the same thing, with Jill. And I think I've told you this before. I mean, she is so ADD. Am I right? Beyond,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet she's got another 8 months of law school, in her 4th year of law school, highest GPA in her class, and is fucking rocking it. And you know why? Because she's doing it online, doing it at home, and she's learning it her way. She's doing it her way. She tried to get in a couple of the study groups, and it just fucked her up. Because she couldn't learn that way, because they're all kind of doing it the same way, and they're talking, she stopped doing study groups and learned how to do this in her own way with flashcards, redundancy, whatever it took to do it. She's fucking killing it, so not everybody's going to learn in the same way. And a story, and I hope I don't embarrass her, but it's the truth, is that when she was in high school, they had her in special needs, because she wasn't learning the proper way. And I think back then she told the counselor that she wanted to be an attorney, and the counselor told her, you need to find something else. You're never going to make it as an attorney. You need to, take home ec or something. I don't know what they told her. Do you remember?
Well, she's terribly dyslexic as well as ADHD. So that really kind of set her up for to, so I guess they just maybe didn't know what to do with that. Maybe at the time, I don't know, but
right.
But she found her way for sure. And I know for me, like, I spent a lot more time in stage crew than, in class. Like, I just didn't, I'm like, I'm not going to use this. Why do I need any of this? And now as I've gotten out into the world and I've done a lot more things, I crave learning. I want to know everything, and so I'm kicking myself for not paying attention in high school, but I mean, is it my fault really? Like, I didn't know what I didn't know, so it's there's definitely a better way to do it. I can say that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely.
And there's no training on learning, right? They've just said we're going to do it this way, and
right.
The dumb ones are going to sit over there, and the dumb ones are usually the people that are outside of the box.
They're outside. Yeah, they're outside the box. They could be your artist. They could be your amazing crane operator. They could be the welder that is building beautiful artwork. I mean, you don't know. You don't know. And not everybody is geared. That's another problem with our world right now too, is that parents, and this is, another parental viewpoint of mine, is that parents get so caught up in what other parents are doing, what other parents' children are doing, and they think that they have to all jump onto the same trailer. That you're going to what school? You're going to do. It's not everybody's geared to go on to college. Not everybody's geared to be white collar. The world needs blue collar people. The world needs, it's like, I love Caddyshack, the world needs ditch diggers too. And it's so true. There are a lot of people out there that are going to do well going into college, but not everybody. in our system. Like, oh my God, we just went through that with the twins. This is their senior year, so they're supposed to be picking out colleges. So they go to the counselors, and they have these groups of people from the school district that are going to help them do all of their applications, and they're telling them you need to apply at least 5 different places, 6, 7, 8 if you can. You need to go to. I mean, it was crazy, the pressure that they were putting on these kids, 17, to make life decisions on where they're going to go to college. Whatever happened to, why don't you go to community college for 2 years, get your AA, kind of get your life figured out, and then transfer on to 4 years if you're going to. Oh no, you need to apply for this university, that university. And I really think that the school district I think what ends up happening is the school district puts so much emphasis on how many of their seniors went on to universities, and kind of their feather in their cap, or they're getting pushed back because every application $75. Some of I think was 100, but so they're pushing these applications that you need at least 5. Well, last time I counted, and I didn't go that far in school, but that's $500 fucking dollars. Come on, and I got twins, so there's 2 of them.
Double trouble.
Oh my God. Yeah. But there's just like, there's no sympathy for the parents, and the parents are right in there, pushing. And not every one of those kids are going to go to school.
Not everyone is enjoying going through it either. Like what if they knew it was okay to drop out, start a business, and just grind it out if you wanted to? What if they knew it was okay to do anything that they wanted?
Yeah.
And they didn't have any pressure to go to school.
Yeah.
Like we're creating a society of doctors and lawyers that do saying things a certain way that is not right for the situations.
No.
And like, think about going into life like that. I mean, we did, but like the pressure of outside success, like you have to follow a plan to be this way, to do that.
Yeah.
Like that is crazy to me. That's something that people need to know. It's okay to slow down. Yep. It's okay to find yourself. It's okay to love what you're doing before you move on to something that's uncomfortable.
Well, and that's my point, is that they're forcing 17-year-olds to make life decisions on what they want to do from here on out. They don't know. I'm not picking on Brian tonight, but in using him as an example, he didn't know what he wanted to do until just recently. He's 22 now.
23. I'll be 24 in March.
I knew that.
The dementia.
Yeah, thank you. But, he's finally figuring out what he wants to do, and I'm wholeheartedly supportive of it. Come home, go back to school, wants to, do film. He wants to get into this business, but at a much higher level, I would hope.
We'll see. I mean, we're making something of this pretty swift here. So I don't know.
And how cool is it at 22, 23, almost 24?
Almost 24.
Yeah. How cool is it to be able to come back and to be able to do that? Like, know that it's okay to figure it out at that age and have the support to do that.
Yeah.
Like in my day and age, you picked what you were going to do, and you're going to do that for 50 years.
Yeah.
And you're going to be good at it, and you're not going to bitch about it.
Yeah, exactly right.
And that's not happiness.
Yeah.
Life can change in the second.
I don't remember ever, and I'm obviously coming from a much different generational pool than you, but I don't ever remember anybody ever taking me aside and asking me, what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself? What are you good at? What makes you happy? Nothing. It was, you're 18, you need to go get a job. You're 18, you either go to school or you get a job. I don't know what the fuck I wanted to do. Nothing. I ended up now, I got 42 years in the crane industry. I not one time ever thought, God, I want to get in the crane business. Oh my God, I want to be a crane operator. Oh, I want to be a crane. Not one fucking time ever. If it wouldn't had a just chance of fate of meeting Bob Hill because I was a landscaper working in his yard, I would never have gotten into the crane business to begin with. I mean, it was just happenstance. Nothing was planned. Ever. Nobody ever taught me. Nobody ever talked to me about planning. I had to learn it myself. And the only way, it's like I tell Brian, I probably have told you, I tell everybody that'll hear me, is that I've had a lot of successes in my life. A lot. But I've had a hell of a lot more failures. And I tell you one thing about all those successes, I never learned a fucking thing from one of them. But my failures, learned a bunch. And so only thing that I can say is that through my life and not having planned much, I learned through failure, dude, you better start planning. You know, and I did it a little bit later than most people, but you know, it's, you know, you got to plan. You got to make certain decisions in your life, and you can't just you can, but are you really going to be somewhere where you really wanted to be?
And you can change it anytime for happiness.
Exactly.
That's what, like, I'm with you. You got to plan it out.
Yeah.
But if at any point in time you feel like it's not working,
you change it.
Change to happiness. Change the genuine you. Change
Yeah.
to. That's what I'm down with, man. Because like my happiness today could all change tomorrow,
Right.
and life could be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't find happiness in it for some reason, you know.
Right.
And that's just.
Well, let's be very careful too, because we don't give people the wrong impression that you chase happiness entirely, because happiness also comes from some struggle. Happiness will come from some challenges. Happiness comes from building a gate when you don't fucking want to build the gate. You know, so be very careful when you come across something that's difficult or a little challenging, or we don't know how to do it, and we back away from it because, well, fuck this isn't fun. I don't want to have fun. Give it a chance. Challenge yourself, because some of the best things in life come from the reward of being challenged and then meeting the challenge and coming out on the other side of it.
It's funny you say that. Like, anything that is not like a negative thing, but it gives me this feeling of I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You do it now.
Yeah.
Like it pains me. I have to sit there and fight myself to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I feel my gut tells me to go back and do it, and that accomplishment is second to none.
Yeah.
Because that's mind control.
Yeah.
That's real. Like, I don't want to do it. And you're the only one that knows you're saying that in your head.
Exactly,
you know?
right.
But it's so special when you're able to complete that task. And it fills your heart with happiness, you know? And if you're chasing happiness, you're chasing the wrong thing. If you're happy and you're living, you're doing it right. Right? Like, chasing happiness, it's never going to happen, because that sounds like an outside thing to me.
Yeah.
You know, happiness is, like you said, like the content thing.
It's the reward.
It's reward for now.
Yeah.
And that's where we got to go back to as society now. When you wake up and you can breathe, motherfucker, you're living better than all the dead people that are wishing.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
And they all, I bet you, and I don't know because I'm not over there yet, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like not to feel things. I don't know what it's like not to have emotions and be able to act on things. And I feel so privileged to be able to do this every day.
Right.
You know, and that's pure happy. Because if you're happy to breathe, even if the IRS calls, you're still happy to breathe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what anxiety in your life there is.
You're still breathing,
You're
brother.
still happy.
Yeah.
And that is the most amazing feeling.
I don't normally recommend too many books, but you know David Goggins.
Oh yeah. Gogs.
Yeah,
I love him.
yeah, I love that guy, man. You know, but his book, "You Can't Hurt Me," is a must read. It's a must read for everybody, even if you're not athletic, because this has nothing. If you get past all of his athletic, accomplishments, and just listen to what he has to say, it's a book for everybody, because he talks about getting into his own head. He talks about not quitting. He talks about pushing himself beyond, and he does it. And he talks about how his mind will try to talk him out of it. No, this is going to be hard, David. Don't do it. Don't get up. Don't go for that run. Don't do this. Don't do that. And he says, man, he wants to listen so bad. But here's a guy that has trained his mind to go into an area of pain and enjoy it. And enjoy it. So what does that tell you? It tells you can find happiness in pretty much any fucking thing. I mean, if you're going to be like him and go run a 100-mile race with only about 3 weeks of training and do it, and the guy poops all over himself and throws up and dehydrated and ends up in the hospital afterwards and everything, but he does it, and then, what was it, like 3-4 weeks later, he's running a marathon. The craziest shit ever. And he's not one of those types of guys that say, you have to be me. You have to do what I'm doing. He said, no, man, find your own way. Find your own self. Find your own place. But be mentally strong. Whatever that means to you, whatever it means to anybody else, be mentally strong. This guy, I mean, just reading that book changed my mindset on so many things. And I tell you this, and one of the things that I'd really, really try to stop doing, and you saw me doing it a lot over the last couple years, of talking about my age. And you tried talking me down out of that. Dude, you fitter than most people half your age. You got more energy. You're going to be around forever. You can do whatever. You used to tell me all those things and built me up. And I listened, but I was still caught up in, fuck, I'm 66. Fuck, I'm 67. And all of a sudden, I started to realize I got a lot of time left. And 68 is not going to control my mind. It's not going to control who I am. I'm not going to stop going to the gym. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. And Goggins and reading that book made me start thinking more of that, is that I can control my own mind. I'm only going to be as old as I let myself be. I mean, I got a beautiful young wife who's only in her 50s. I've got freaking children that are 17 years old, and I've got children that are 47 years old. I've got so much going on in my world. I'm freaking 68 years old doing a podcast. Most fucking 68-year-olds don't even know what a podcast is. And I say that half jokingly, but there's some seriousness to that too. And one of the things I've made up my mind I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it on these podcasts too, is I'm going to try to reach out to these people that are in their 50s, that are in their 60s, that are in their 70s. Tell them, I don't want to hear, oh, I earned this retirement. Oh, I earned the right to be whatever. To me, it's like hearing them say, they earned the right to just die. Why do you want to sit on the couch when you can get up and go for a walk, go for a hike, go to the beach, go do something, go fish, go do something, get out, breathe some air, breathe some. That's my goal. My goal is to reach out to people, not the young people. I want people that are young like Brian and you. I want you to hear it. I don't want you to be 50 years old and out of shape. That's what drove me the whole time. I can remember being in my 30s. Fit, big, working out, running, cycling, doing everything, watching my diet. People going, why are you so fanatic? Why are you doing this? Take it easy. Everybody wanted me to slow down. Everybody wanted me to be like them. And I wouldn't do it. And then, why do you do this? Why do you do this, guys? I don't want to be 50 years old and out of shape and not be able to get back in shape. At that time, I had seen so many people doing that. Guys that let themselves go, they're 50 years old, they're 50 pounds overweight. I'm sorry, dude, you're never going to gain it back. Never. And I didn't want to be that way. And all of a sudden I hit 50 and I was in really good shape. And that's now what? I'm going to be 60. I'll be 60. I got to work and I don't want to be in bad shape when I'm 60. I hit 60 and I was probably, I don't want to say the best shape of my life, but honest to God, I was 60 years old. I think I was like 8.5% body fat, strong, big, 60 years old. Then I told myself, now I'm just going to try to go as far as I can go. And if I had setbacks, yeah. You know, last year I hurt my shoulder, made it really difficult going to the gym, going and working out. COVID hit. So, you know, it kind of set me back on my heels, but I ain't quitting. I'm not giving up. And that's my message to everybody. Keep at it, man. Keep at it. Don't quit. You know, and if you did quit, get back up. You know, stop eating shit, drop some weight, go for walks. If you can't run, get on a gym, get on a treadmill, get on a bicycle. Doesn't matter. Go for walks. Go breathe some real air. Get out of the fucking house. That's what I want people in my generations to start hearing. You know, you're not ready to die yet. You know, start living.
Don't quit, man.
Don't quit.
Like, what did you do? Did you work like 60 years to build a place to die?
That's
like, I don't understand that. I don't understand not like we were put on this earth to live.
Yeah.
We were put on this earth to outperform what we did yesterday. We were put on this earth to believe in ourselves. And I see this whole generation, and you know, I've been watching this for 36 years now. Yeah. I'm like, these guys are going to think they're going to die at 80, so they do.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really the truth, too.
And that's crazy to me because I watch it around. It's, you know, it's not just other people. It's my family. It's
right.
And I'm sitting there going, motherfucker, I want to live till 250. Yeah. Like I genuinely, Mike, if you know me and you know me, yeah. I genuinely think I'm going to live till 250 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do everything I can in my power to get there. Yeah. And it sounds absurd. But guess what? I'm absurd. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I mentally am telling myself, I'm going to put myself in a position, if my body allows me and this earth gives me the opportunity, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the biggest mindset changes that I've had, because what are you working for?
Well, I think the biggest mindset change that people can make when they're thinking of that stuff is simply stop thinking of dying. Yes. Stop thinking of dying. Don't let dying come into your play. Now, you know, okay, there are accidents and, you know, there are things out of your control. But if you're talking naturally living and dying of a fucking heart attack, don't think about it. Don't put it in your head. Don't put it out there. Don't let it have energy. You know, don't think you're going to have a heart attack, because guess what? You'll fucking have one.
And if you're thinking it, you're doing something to add to that.
Yeah.
You're eating badly. You're thinking badly. You're putting stress into your life, and you don't need to do any of that.
Yeah.
You can literally take it out. And so my whole life right now is I work on mind control. That's what I do, right? If I can control my mind, I can control my universe and my reality, the things that I can control, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of my whole life right now. I wake up, and I love David Goggins, by the way. I think that the way that he approaches his mentality every day of getting better, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit softer on myself as far as how I do things. Like, I don't call myself a motherfucker, but I tell myself to get up and do it. And if I don't want to do it, that's what I'm going to do. And that's where I go into like deep meditation. So one of the things I'm like the most proud about in my life, for me personally, is I have, let me see. I don't know the exact number today, but I do Wim Hof every day. And it's about an hour and a half meditation. I do about a 30-minute prayer. I do like a 10-minute meditation, and I do like 45 minutes of Wim Hof every day. And I'm on, let me tell you right now, I'm on I've had 252 sessions in the past year. I've had 1,500 rounds of breathing, and I've held my breath for 23 hours and 48 minutes. That is absolute mind control for me because it's sitting and doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's when I hear a Goggins, when I see a Goggins, when I see people like that, their ability to control their mind in the heat of agony, in the heat of I just want to go home and I can, and they're giving me the opportunity, and I'm just going to take this bus. Yes.
I want to stop. I don't want to take one more step. I want to stop and sit underneath that shade tree over there. You know, and the cool thing about a David Goggins, and I'm sure the world's got more of them, but he's just he's the one that's out there. He's the one that's bringing it to the forefront, is that he's not saying be David Goggins. And people misread that. You know, you're a lunatic. You can't be. And he goes, yeah, I am, but that's me. I'm not telling you to be me. I'm just telling you to go be the best you that you could be. And it is mind control, because what happens if you don't control your mind? Your mind controls you. And have you ever sat there and listened to your mind is fucked up. I am telling you, your mind left alone is fucked up. It will put you in bad places. It'll put you in depression. It'll put you in stress. It will put you in places that you shouldn't be. It'll be dark. Your mind is not geared to make you happy on its own. It'll make you lazy. It'll make you fat. It'll make you, and you know what the mind will do? It will give you all the excuses in the world as to why you're that way. You know, it's like control your mind, people, because
that's the battle. That's the real battle of, can you withstand yourself and your negative thoughts and still do positive?
Yeah.
Like that's what we all get into in meditation is, you know, when I first started meditating, mm-hmm. All I heard was voices. They call it like the motote, mm-hmm. where it's like the free world of thoughts, like all of them, and they all are yelling at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you get deeper into your mind control, you start seeing the words and seeing the thoughts, and they start mm-hmm. passing you by, and they start mm-hmm. meaning less because it's just your mind.
And the strangest thing about meditating too, because you're right, you hear all these voices, you hear all these thoughts, you hear all this shit that's coming at you and at you and at you. And as that dissipates, for me, then I got images. I got scary images. I got, mean faces. I got angry face, all these things, they were passing by. Eventually you get to the point where everything's gone.
Everything's gone and you've worked on everything. That's where like the first part of meditation is so scary because you don't know what you're going to work on.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to sit there for hours and hours and figure it out.
Oh, and endure the voices and endure, the faces and endure the questioning. And I mean, the mind doesn't want you to go there. The mind is throwing everything that it can. I mean, it's really almost ironic that the same mind that is telling you to meditate and clear your head is the same mind that's going, don't fucking do it. I mean, you talk about some schizophrenia going on in your own brain. It's odd that left alone, your brain could be so fucking dangerous.
I just think that's like the beauty of choice.
Yeah.
That's what God gave us. Like the most beautiful, like you can pick that guy that says, hey man, walk into the podcast with Mike and just shoot him. Mm-hmm. You can use it. You can follow that, right? Or you can follow the other side is you give him a hug like it's the last time you're ever going to see him.
Yeah.
And you actually have the choice. And it's crazy that we can't perceive that and understand that until we get it, that you have a choice of that. It doesn't always have to be the other end of it, right?
No, true.
You turn it into the best situation possible. It could be the shittiest circumstances of all time, and you can do something kind.
Yep.
And that's man. And the choice to be able to do something kind is amazing because now you're giving.
Well, and that's where people need to see that they're going through their life every single day making choices. And that's what I try to tell people. Life is nothing but choices. From the moment your eyes open in the morning You're making a choice to kick the covers off and swing your leg over the side of the bed and stand up. That's your first choice of the day. And then from there, it's, do I brush my teeth or not? Do I shower and shave or do I not? You know, am I going to work? Am I not? Every moment of every day is choices. And the quality of your life depends solely on the choices that you make. But everybody's making them.
And you control, that's the only thing you actually control in your life is the choices you make.
Yeah.
Even the outcome of your choices aren't under your control.
Right.
Right. And that's just again, going back to meditation again, just understanding that, seeing things go by, like you say, visions go by and not affect you, but they're happening in reality in your head.
Yeah.
And it's gaining the control to bite your tongue. It's gaining the control not to scream at somebody. It's gaining the control over not losing control.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, man, if I could say one thing to anybody ever is work at that.
Yeah.
Work at you. Because once you control your decisions and your options and your universe, it can only get better. The only way it can get worse is if you lose control.
Right.
And then you start making bad decisions based on, making up and stuff like that. But it's so much fun to meditate and then start to get to the different levels. Because meditation is the first part of self-love, right?
Right.
So I do a lot of things for self-love. I wake up in the morning and I usually do a meditation for about 26 minutes. It's a mind control. It's a Jose Silva Mind Control, Chapter 3 is what I use. And then I skin brush when I wake up because I heard it makes your skin better. And then I do, little things throughout the day. Like I owe myself 50 burpees every day. I don't have to do it, but I'm paying myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to look good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look good over time. And I know what crushing the weights feels like. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of my day or anywhere in my day, I'm loving myself by writing down the things, the people I love, my manifestations. And then I come home and I do Wim Hof. I do Wim Hof in the sauna. I do it in the pool. Every single thing of self-love started with meditation. And I've added this on over 3 years, right? Like I'm not patting myself on the back. Like I do a lot of stuff that takes way too much time, but I just love myself so much. I want to live forever. And I think it helps.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing about starting meditation and understanding life. And it teaches you how to love yourself. And you just find ways. You find ways to love yourself. And then it's easy to find ways to love your universe.
Well, when you do all of those things and you are doing it for the love of yourself and you are finding that oneness within yourself, what does that do? It puts that love. If you're loving yourself, other people are seeing it. Other people are feeling it. And if there's love out there with them, it's going to come back. It's going to cause you to do more. And it creates this whole environment of loving each other. And that's where this idea of we all have choices is choose to be nice. That's it. It goes back to, I think we were saying this early on in the podcast, just choose to be nice, be kind. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. We don't need to yell and scream at each other. We don't need to be on the horn honking at somebody. I can't tell you how many times I sat at, red light, it turns green. And literally not 1 second and somebody's honking the horn. Go. About, I don't know, a month or two ago, I'm sitting behind somebody and the light turns green. I sat there and I saw them. They were on their phone. They were texting, doing something. I sat there. He looks up, the light turned yellow. He takes off. I sat there for a whole nother red light. I did not touch my horn because you know what? It was maybe max 30 seconds out of my life. It was my choice. People need to make the right choices in their life and not get angry, not get mad, not divide. Just be nice. It's so fucking easy. And you get so many returns on it that I don't understand why we live in a world where people can't just be nice and simple with one another. Why do they got to get angry? Why do they get mad? You look at it. This has been one of those things for me. You know, guys at work, especially in our industry, they're out there on a job. Something doesn't quite go right. Fucking throwing hard hats down on the ground, screaming, yelling, cursing. This is stupid. This guy was a dumb fuck. Why the fuck did we do this? Blah, blah, blah. On and on and on. And I'm looking at him going, that's a lot of wasted energy. A lot of wasted energy for no reason. Work your way out of it. Come up with a solution. And guess what? At the end of the day, Wes is going to still pay you. And yet they allow their mind to take over instead of controlling the mind. All they got to do is just make one right decision and go, this isn't a big deal. I got this. Can't seem to make it happen.
It is so hard to pull them into that mindset.
Yeah.
Because, in our industry, they think the worst of everything.
Oh, yeah.
And everything's you're a dumb fuck. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, you know. No shortage of the word fuck in our industry. No. But it's crazy because as crane operators, we're trained to be like that. Like
right.
we've been built like that. And
yeah.
And then we're always superheroes at the end of the day when we get it done.
Yeah.
Like, why not just be the superhero the whole time?
Yeah.
You know, that's...
Well, I think, now just, getting into, real world, thought is that really is why most guys do that, because they want everybody to know how fucked up it is, but I fixed it. I got it done. Oh, thank you. You're the great guy, No, you could have been the great guy doing it without making a big scene.
And that's the special sauce.
Yeah.
Can you be the superhero and kind all the way through, not just what you're getting, what you want?
Yeah.
And that's the edge and the advantage you have if you're a kind person.
Well, it's also, too, can you be the superhero without recognition of being the superhero?
They know what you're doing. That's why you're there.
Yeah.
In any situation.
Any situation.
They get it.
Yeah.
You don't need to rub it in their face.
Yeah.
And you get the most compliments when you're polite and kind the whole time.
Yeah.
Shake their hand and say, I really appreciate the work.
Yeah.
Because it just fed my family. Because there was a point in time in your life where you would have done something 10 times worth for a quarter of the money.
Yep. Yeah.
Just be grateful the whole way through.
Yeah.
But in our society, it's difficult because we look up to the people above us.
Yep.
Right. And if they have that attitude, it's hard to change that attitude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, can you believe what they're paying people these days?
Yeah.
I was working. So when my first job for my grandpa, I got a quarter dollars a job.
Well, come on, man. Grandpa was taking advantage of a child.
I know, he took It's just insane,
Yeah.
and just trying to, that mindset is something, that I work on day in and day out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny you say that too, because I was just telling somebody the other day, I said, I bought my first house. We were talking about homes. And I said, I bought my first home for $34,500. And I mean, it was just right around here too. I mean, it was a nice home in East Long Beach, $34,000. Oh my God, I would have bought 10 of them. I said, dude, I was making $12,000 a year. And that was everything I could just to buy that. It was nice to sit here in hindsight and think if I'm making what I'm making now, but it wasn't that way. I was thankful for having that house. Thankful. I was thankful for me because I can remember thinking I'm closing in on $12,000 this year. And I was thinking, God, if I could just make $12,000. I mean, that was everything, that's,
You were happy getting that then.
Absolutely.
And I hope in today's day and age that people will be happy with their present circumstances.
Yeah.
Can be happy through learning.
Well, it goes back to what we were saying when we first started talking to, and that's, you find your happiness where you're at. You find it in the simplest of things. You find it in your family. You find it, in your friendships. You find it, in the podcast room. I mean, I'm doing a lot of things right now that I'm really proud of. I'm going to the gym, surfing when I get an opportunity to. I'm a good dad. I'm doing whatever. And then also too, and I'm doing really well in my job, and, people like me and all the good things that feed you. But also too, I'm doing a podcast, and this right here, doing it with Brian, this is one of the highlights of my life right now, of doing something so out of character. Putting myself, I am so vulnerable sitting here with everybody. When I tell people I do podcasts, I'm vulnerable, but it's almost like that drives me to do it. I'm going to make myself vulnerable, but if they're going to watch it, because they can critique it, they can say, why'd you do this? Why did you do that? How come you're doing it this way? Whatever that the case would be. It drives me so that when they watch it, they come back and say, man, that was really cool. That was really cool. That resonates with somebody. I want people to resonate with our conversation. We had a lot of stuff that we talked about tonight. I mean, it's all good stuff. And that's what drives me, is to grow old, but not be old. I don't ever want to stop growing old, because the alternative isn't all that fucking great. But I don't want to be old before my time.
And you're not, man.
No,
like I've told you from day one, man. You're the strongest. I think I met you when you were 60,
Yeah.
58, 59.
Right before I was 60. Yeah.
Like horse strong.
Yeah.
And, you're another one of those things where I can look up and be like, society's not what it says it is. Mm-hmm. Because if you do it right and you're diligent at what you do, look at you, man.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say you're not going to make it as long as you want?
Yeah.
It's just
250 is just around the corner.
And honestly, like that, just changing from I'm old to I'm going to live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And one thing that I go off of, and it helps me a lot right now in my life, is somebody in Instagram land said, 15 minutes is 1% of your life. How many percentages of your life a day can you spend on yourself and your family? How many can you do? And I challenge myself daily to spend 15 minutes of of 100% attention. All right, my love is always unconditional to my family, but that has been a driving force in my life. If I need to work on sales at work, I need to spend 1%. I don't need to spend 3 hours. If I get to 3 hours and I can control myself and I can control my thoughts and be, stay with it, I'm going to stay with it.
Yeah.
But I need 15 minutes to fix any problem. Right. And that's been so cool, because that grain of sand is so small in my life. I can always pick up 15 minutes. Yep. And that's
really a good thought. It's amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. Buddy.
Well,
we're almost 3 hours.
Right? Dude, that went by so fast. Can you patch this in? Can I say hello? I have the best family in the world, and I want to say hello to Michelle, my wife. Mm-hmm. And I have 3 kids. I want to say hello to Presley, Rockefeller, and Kennedy. And I just want to tell you guys that I love you more than anything in the world. And the reason that I do this life, and the reason that I enjoy this life, and the reason that I'm so happy in this life is your love. And you guys fill me up, and you guys make me feel appreciated. You guys make me feel worth it. And I love you so much and appreciate everything you do in my world to make me so confident.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I'll add this onto it. I've known you a long time, and I've never seen you so content and so happy and so focused on anything. I mean, I've seen you focus on business, but that wasn't focus as much as fear. I'm watching you as a man focus on your family, focus on the things that make you happy, focus on the things that are important in your life. And it does my heart good to see Wes Staley the way you are today, and anxious to see you 30 years from now to see what kind of growth that you've had in that period of time. Because this has been a short period of time, and you've come a long way, brother.
I really appreciate the way you love me, Mike. I do. You love me in a different way from a lot of people, and I really appreciate when you say kind words like that. It means a lot to me.
Well, I think ever since the very beginning, we've been really kind of kindred spirits together. We've thought a lot alike. We've been down similar paths, and I think that for me, and I say this honestly, that I think that when you kind of made a right turn and kind of disappeared for a while, I missed you a lot. And when you came back, it was really, really huge for me, you know, because I had missed you like a brother. You know, I would say like a dad, but but I missed you. I missed you a lot when you came back. It was very cool, you know. So it does me good to see you the way that you are, see you happy, and I know that Michelle and the kids are a huge part of that.
Yeah,
huge part.
And angels like you who say encouraging things in the perfect times. It's just, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate it. It takes a lot to be a big person, and you're a big person all the way down the road. A lot of people don't know this, but we don't work together anymore.
No.
And I want to bring this up a little bit because this is true love.
Mm-hmm.
I am so happy for you and so grateful for everything that we've figured out together, everything we've learned together. And I couldn't be like more happy that your life's working out, my life's working out, and we can come together and do this.
Oh yeah.
And there is I don't feel any tension, anything. And I think that's special, man. We worked together for a very long time.
Yeah.
And life does things, and sometimes you don't work together, right? Like,
yeah.
But it doesn't end the relationship. And that's what's so special about you is the circumstances have changed, but the love hasn't.
Right.
And the way you talk about me, because I only know the way you talk about me.
Right.
It's so special, man. And I know why your kids are so great. Just the way you do that is very, very special.
I appreciate that. And I'll just say one thing on the work thing. I would be very disappointed in the two of us to have the kind of conversation that we've had here all night long and talk about mindset and controlling the mind and looking for joy and looking for happiness. If either one of us let a job, regardless of what our positions are in a particular company, to let a job come between this. I mean, it's only a fucking job.
It's crazy, huh?
But this is life. This is real. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. I get a hug out of this one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, man.